You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 178 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Friday, August 3rd, beginning of a long weekend in many Canadian provinces, so enjoy. I hope you have wonderful plans. We've been getting lots of rain here at the Beaver Lodge in the evenings and overnight with nice days. Hopefully that will be the case again, although yesterday's rain in the general area, not of the Beaver Lodge, but where you are, Mr. Grizzly, came with yet another tornado touching down in the south. I heard a quote saying, why does God hate Barrhaven? It's like, you know what you did, Barrhaven. You know what we call it Farhaven in Ottawa. That's why, because they built it so damn far out the city. That's what you did.
Well, my good buddy Stuntman Stu lives in Farhaven. He calls it Barbecue Haven, and if you live in Orleans, that's Borleans to him. He sometimes watches the show.
Borleans.
Hey Stu, what's up, brother? You know why Barrhaven's being punished? It's all the swinging that they do in Barrhaven.
Oh, okay.
It used to be, so there's new sign. I read a lot, right? So it used to be if the garage door was open to a certain height, that meant that couple was open for a swing. Then it was the upside down pineapple on the doorstep. Now it is multicolored scrunchies hanging off your car. Like, the multicolored loofah.
Yeah.
Scrunchy loofahs hanging off the mirror or your roof rack or off the bumper, or I'm like,
oh.
So that's why Farhaven's being punished. It's for all the swinging. I don't believe that for a split second. It just happens to be geographically because it's out in the middle of an open field.
Well, hey, right? All the tornadoes and earthquakes and floods and monsoons and typhoons are because we gay people have sex. So we're told.
I'm told.
Yes. Apparently we're having a lot of sex.
You're to blame for all of it. You're to blame for all of
the sex. Only the gays are having sex now.
Yes. You bring about the end of the world.
And judging by the number of disasters, yeesh. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A. And with me, as always, as you have heard, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes out to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvin Moon Publishing and CanadianTarot.com. I see Kid James going, we are not all having a lot of sex, yes, but that's because you're heterosexual. You've had all the heterosexuals have all the sex they're allowed to have now. New rule. You've done enough. Thank you.
I'm not making any comment there. No comment
We have
whatsoever.
a Friday. Of course, James, if you're willing to discuss that. Kidding. Of course, we have a Friday morning bite for you. But before we start, let's do the most important thing we do every morning, which is say hello to Mr. Grizzly and ask him, how's your mental health doing today, sir?
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. I think I'm doing pretty good.
Ooh, I like that.
Woke up groggy as all get out, and I know I dreamt last night, but I have no recollection. So the vivid lucidness was not there.
Okay.
So I think I've turned a corner.
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm a little tired. This is my first cup of coffee, so let me get a couple of these into me, and then I'll be good to go.
I am
How about
surprisingly
you?
chipper and energetic considering that I woke
I
up
see
the
that.
following morning at the previous morning at 4 something just to go to the bathroom. And then between the time that I get up to go to the bathroom and go back to bed, it's almost like my Beaver sweetie notices I'm not in bed and thinks, okay, it's safe to snore now.
Mm.
It's like, so I go to the bathroom like this, and as soon as I get there, I hear, it's like, oh, great. I guess I'm slipping over here now. And then I come and lie down here, and then I toss and turn for 40 minutes, and I figure, okay, well, I might as well get up and start working. So I've been up since 4 o'clock, and then yesterday I think I got to bed. I don't know what it was. Normally I have this dip around 8, 9. I feel really sleepy, and sometimes I just pack it in for the night, and sometimes I push through it a little bit. That did not happen yesterday. Yesterday was like 1:43 in the morning, and I was still going strong. It's like, dude, you need to go to bed. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
I don't know where the energy came from. Yeah, a bit of a slower start this morning, but I also slept really weird. So if you see me doing weird things with my heads, because I got a little crick in my neck, right?
Okay.
But
Okay. Well, actually, while the credits, the bumper was playing at the beginning, I looked in the green room and I'm like, "Are you having a stroke?"
oh yeah, it was. I
Like, yeah, because I could see you doing something. I'm like,
it was locked right here that I couldn't turn my head past here on this side.
yeah.
So
So I thought you were having a stroke for a minute.
yes,
Then you were fine, and I'm like, well, there's no drooping, so
yep.
I don't think I need to call 911 right away. And then when you jumped in with the good morning, I'm like, okay, he's fine. He's fine.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Let's put it
Good.
this way: if it cracks, I'm cracking it.
Mm. So I had to put this on because I thought this was funny because all Fridays are holy days in the Church of Flying Spaghetti Monster. What struck me as funny was raw men. Okay, and then it's like,
Raw
but
man.
it's from Pasta Gabe.
Yes.
So I'm like, Pasta Gabe to Flying Spaghetti Monster ramen. Okay, I'm a little slow sometimes, right?
um,
I was talking with my buddy Alex who came to visit there last week,
mhm.
and you know, I'm not a big fan of being teased. He goes, "Well, why is that?" I go, "Well, I got teased a lot when I was a little kid, and I don't like it." I said, "But the thing is, I oftentimes you can say something to me that is a sarcastic tease, and it goes right over my head." He goes, "You're like Drax." I go, "Well, not entirely. I get a lot, but if you tease me and you say it in a serious enough manner, I'm going to believe you because I don't it's not within me to do that to people, to tease people. It's like I don't believe in lying to people. I don't believe in teasing people. And because of that, the way my brain works, if you say it to me convincingly enough, I'll just believe you because why would you lie?
Mhm.
That's how my brain works. Why would you lie to me?
Mhm.
You know, and so I guess that's one of the reasons I don't like the whole teasing thing. Along it no, look, sometimes light teasing can be funny and I get a kick out of it. But if you continue to push, you know, it I get pissed off.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep. I hear you. I hear you.
And as anybody would, like if you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, it's like, okay, stop. Just I'm asking you to stop now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's reasonable. And that's not directed at anybody. That's just general
Oh
me.
yeah.
That's how my brain
Oh
works.
my God. There are days where I just like look up at the universe and say, okay, that's enough for today. Pick on someone
Yes,
else.
exactly.
Thank you.
Enough.
You filled my cup. Um,
And that's what it is for me, because it's childhood trauma from being picked on is what it is.
mm,
And trauma sticks with you
and get
forever. It
stored in the
never.
body.
It does, and it can come out at the weirdest times. Um, I can't explain it. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just a guy with a deep voice and a microphone. That's it.
And a good heart.
That's all I am.
And a good heart. And a good
Well, I
heart.
try. I try.
Oh God, now I got that Fergal Sharkey song in my head. A good heart is hard to
Which
find.
one? Oh yeah.
Good
Oh, geez, I haven't heard
heart
that in
these
100
days
years.
is hard to find. I know. My mind is really weird. It's like this jukebox. Somebody says something, and it's like, those old KTEL commercials where you only got like
Hmm.
10 seconds of a song or 5 seconds, and it's got this song and this song and this song. And then sometimes, like back in the day, was sometimes when a song was playing on the radio, like the song would end, and then the next thing that would go in my head is like the first 5 seconds of the next song from the commercial. It's like, I'll play this next. No, darn, they're not playing that next. So sometimes people say something, and there's like one little trigger word, and then it's like a song from the 80s or a commercial jingle comes into my head. It's like, oh, I've got a big bowl of cereal. Here comes the big bowl ready. It's just like, I don't know. My mind is really weird.
Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the
It-
stars. It's just sort of a random Casey Kasem moment,
Right,
right?
right. Good morning to you, Kit Grappling. Lovely to see you. I think that's the first time this week. Kit Linda M. Lovely to see you as always. Kit Jim, as we mentioned, or James. Kit Ellen. I don't know if you prefer James or Jim, actually. I guess James. Given that's what you go by. Kit Ellen. Kit Dan T. Hey, sir. We need to send Dan T a link so you can join us at one point.
Right now, today,
Yeah, one
at
point
this
today.
moment.
Yes, this morning.
Okay.
Yes, because he has
Uh,
an announcement. Kit and Mike H, lovely to see
I
you.
need an email from Dan T or I am or a DMer. Do you have something?
I think I do. Yes, I do. I do actually have an email for
Okay,
Dan.
let me just give you a link here. Here's the link.
Okay, so I'll send that to him. So, Dan,
Yeah,
please, if you have an opportunity, check your email. Uh, Actually, you know what? No, go to your Twitter because I think it's going to be easier to find you there, and I'll send it to you in your DMs in Twitter, and that way you can click on the link and you can join us at some point in the show. So, for your announcement. Also, Kit PNC Bio. Hello, Kit Mike H. Let's see, Kit Tabby G. Hey. Thank you, by the way. Kit Mike H. Let's see, who else do we have today? Oh my God, everybody's here. Kit Pasta Gape, of course, because we highlighted him. Kit Andrew. Hey, I hope your vacation is going very well, my friend. And I
my
think
beloved is on screen.
the Daily Beaver. Oh, really?
No, Bridget.
Mademoiselle Fox? Ah,
No.
hello.
Right there. I put it on the screen, on our screen,
Oh, there it is. Okay,
on the
sorry. Yeah,
YouTube.
I got the private chat covering it. Sorry, there it is. Good morning, dear one. How are you today? It's so lovely to see you. Kit Jen, hey. Everybody's here for the last show of the week. Kit Mohan, lovely to see you as well. Um, I wow. Today is an interesting day, and first, given that Kit James is here. What a great piece you wrote yesterday, sir,
Yeah, I
or
have
the
it
day
here.
before
I
yesterday. I'm
haven't
not
had
sure when it was exactly about
August 3rd, so yesterday.
the separation of the Trudeaus. That
I have it here if you want me to read it.
I think we should read it in. It is that good, and that was a home run, my friend.
I think
A
so.
home run. Please, if we can read it in your voice, it's going to be much better than mine.
Okay, here we go. This is separation stories. My family is wrought with broken marriages, and the toll it takes is real. At the time, I was a bold, cynical 16-year-old kid. I thought I knew everything. So when my parents told me they were getting divorced, I just shrugged. I even remember thinking the following upon hearing the news: what took you two so long? I still cringe when I recall thinking something so ignorant, so insensitive. Marriage is hard, but divorce can be downright debilitating. Everyone gets hit with shrapnel. Everyone in broken families have moments when they feel guilty, like it is their fault the unit, the home team, is no more. Despite my initial cynicism of feeling like my sisters and I had been waiting for that shoe to drop for years, I still remember pivoting towards a very dark, very anxious idea that the family I lived with my whole life and probably took for granted was now dismantled. I had so many questions I never did ask. Why is this happening? Is there a way it can be repaired? Did I do something wrong that made mom and dad hate each other? Mostly, as a confused kid, my thoughts inevitably reverted back to this one burning question. If I promise to be good, not get in trouble at school, and help more around the house, will you change your mind? All I wanted was for them to change their minds. They never did. And what's worse is that neither of them had the right tools to soften the transition. 3 days. That's all the warning we had. Mom sat me down on a Wednesday to tell me the news. She was gone by Sunday morning. For various reasons, none of which helped then or now, I would only see her twice over the next 12 months. My sisters were both living independently, so it was just my father and I floating around the house. He and I barely spoke. My father, withdrawn on a good day, seemed emotionless. He somehow became even more wooden and practically a mute. I was essentially parentless from that point on and had to watch both of them eventually end up with other people who had their own issues, and I was left trying to adjust to my new reality with no help from anyone whatsoever. This is what separation really is. It isn't the cheap headlines we've been seeing in Canada lately. It isn't about the typical psychotic comments on social media. It isn't even about divorce at the end of the day. Separation is about an endless cascade of shrapnel hitting the bystanders who also feel the enormity of decisions their partners or family members make. Everyone gets hit. Everyone. This quiet trauma is so painful that you find yourself longing for the days when you could hear mom and dad fight, because at least it would mean they were both in the same house. Kids are resilient, but fragile. They need to be guided through separation by two cooperative parents in order to realize their full resiliency in these delicate situations. If you don't have this cooperation, and I speak from personal experience as a child of divorce and as someone recently separated with kids, you are selling your kids short. You are impacting their views on relationships through your example, whether intentional or not, because it's hard for everyone. Everyone. This is a universally identifiable issue that never gets talked about. It touches all of us. We have all been challenged. Sorry, let me rephrase that. We have all been challenged. I did get that right. Sorry. We have all been challenged or traumatized or abused or became a helpless witness to extraordinarily stressful life changes involving our immediate families. And there are also triumphs. We can't forget that if you make the most of a broken family and prioritize a truce so that the kids can see mom and dad treating each other respectfully, everyone wins. Recently, a good friend reminded me about how pivotal it is for me to just focus on my relationship with my kids. Positive, confident, cheerful, a good role model. And most of all, direct and honest communication. My relationship with my kids is everything. I want to show them what a good father can be. And maybe, just maybe, they will see me as a rock star. I think I need that quiet hope. At the very least, when my parents split, the 16-year-old me could have really used it. That's from our good friend James D. Fiore. And that's some great writing. And you know, the part that I think hits so hard, uh, you know, why is this happening? Is there a way it can be? If I promise to be good, not get in trouble at school, and help more around the house, will you change your mind? I think that's a thing that every child who is a product of divorce thinks. I know. I have family members who've gone through that, and they said, "That's what I thought. What can I do to make it better?" It's like, unfortunately, you can't, and there's nobody there to tell you that you've done nothing wrong. Because everybody's trying to deal with their own crap.
And everybody's looking at the trees rather than the forest that sometimes people don't have. the tools, or it doesn't have the notion to even tell the
Mm.
children it's not your fault.
Well, and that's the thing, because you're drowning in your own emotions. So it's hard to try and get your head above water and say it's okay, don't worry, don't worry. Meanwhile, you're sinking constantly. And I've never been in that situation, but I have been through breakups. Some of them have been pretty tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a modicum of understanding, but there were never children involved personally for me. My last serious relationship. I know Bridget hates it when I talk about my past like that, but sorry, darling. My last serious relationship was 6 years ago, and I was very close with her children. I've never seen them again.
Yep. 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 I think about that with my Beaver sweetie a lot. We don't have kids, but there's Marco and Christina, our niece and nephew, and they don't know a world without me in it.
Right.
They were born before I came along, but they were young enough. The years before 3, you don't remember much. I think not everybody, not that there's any chance of this happening, but I think every now and then, if our relationship ended, or not even sometimes if our relationship ended, if Alex got tenure at a university in Europe,
Right. Are you going to be able to relocate?
would we want to?
That's the other
Do we
question.
want to
Right?
be that far away from them? And they're not even our
No.
kids.
Yeah.
And we love
Yeah.
them so much. The thing about James' article that hit with me is, a lot of the stuff as a kid. I'm the child of divorce, but I was lucky, quote unquote,
Mhm.
question mark, that my parents separated while my mom was pregnant with me. So I wasn't raised with my dad, so I didn't experience the family break up. The family was already
Mhm.
broken up. But I was a foster kid. And the number of times you go into a family and you adapt to that family. And sometimes it's just the emergency home that you're just there for a month or two, or sometimes just 2-3 weeks before they find you a permanent home. And then you go in, and then you get taken out, and then you go back into your regular home, and then you get taken out of that and you go back.
Mhm.
And then wondering if that's your fault, and wondering if it's, and whereas, Kit, James was talking about, I promise I'll be good. For me, it was, if the walls are beige, wear beige. Do
Yeah.
not stand out.
Disappear.
Just
Yeah.
disappear. Don't be a problem. It's like the last home I was in for 10 years. And, after I had been there for about 2 years, it was like, I don't care how terrible the whole world is around me. All I
Mhm.
want is any form of stability in my home. And that home was not a happy home after the first 3 or 4 years there. It was a miserable home. It was a very miserable
Mhm.
home. And, my entire high school was waking up in the morning after I had heard that my foster father had left for work, because he never had anything nice to say first thing in the morning.
Mhm.
Walk down the stairs and say, "You going to school just like that?" Or, "When you going to clean up your room? It's pigsty," or something. But it was always something like that. So
Mhm.
I'd make sure he was gone, and then I'd go to school. And then I was a keener because I was involved in every single possible activity. Not because I liked the activities. I did like the
To
activities.
distract yourself
And
from, but it was, yeah.
because I
Yeah.
was PO, P-O apostrophe, when you're a foster kid, nothing belongs to you. It's so poor you can afford
P
the OR at the end of
P-O,
poor.
P-O.
P-O
What's
apostrophe,
P-O?
PO, because you're so poor you can't afford the OR at the end. PO.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I get
um,
it.
and so these were free activities,
Right.
but it also allowed me to stay at school till 5 or 6 p.m. rather than 2 or 3. And then I'd come home and supper was already eaten, so it was waiting in the microwave. I'd warm it up, and then I'd go upstairs to the bedroom and I'd do homework for 4 hours. And no wonder I was a straight A student. And then when the bell rang on Friday, when my mom finally got her own place, by the time I was 16, I would go right there and I would stay with her, and I'd leave Monday morning from there to go to school. And that was my life. I basically slept there and ate the food that was left in the microwave. And I was good with that because I did my whole high school at one school, which is unheard of. If you've seen the number of
I
elementary schools
went
I went
to
to, and you
I
would be
went
familiar with
to
that, changing schools all the time.
I went to 3 high schools
Yeah,
in 3 provinces.
yeah.
Military kid, right? So
And the just the starting over and the starting over. Um, I yeah, James,
so
you
so
said nothing else needed to be published or written by anyone or said by anyone on that day. You said it all, my friend.
mhm.
Because, and if your article was the only thing that was out there in the entire universe about that day, that would be fantastic. So, my friend, actually, you know
I
what?
concur.
Standing
I'm in my
ovation.
underwear, so I'm not going to stand up.
Standing ovation, my friend. All right. Other topics. Mr. Grizzly, do you have something to start us off?
Can we stick on that for
Oh, yeah, please,
just a
please.
minute
Yeah,
or
if
two?
we want to stick on this, I'm all for it.
Just for a minute or two. So, you know, uh, we talk about trauma from. Sorry, James. I was retweeting your story. That's why. Um, we talk about childhood trauma and how it sticks with you forever. There were 2 years in my life that were difficult on our whole family because we were. My father took a posting to Trenton, and the 2 years we were there, I think he was home for 3 months because he was sent away on course the whole time. So it was my mom alone trying to take care of 3 kids while my dad was out of town. It's tough, being I was 8 years old, and my dad wasn't there. I didn't have that male figure, and it wasn't. He didn't leave by choice. It was we're in the military. That's what happens, right? And he hated to be away from us, but there it was. But those 2 years were really difficult on all of us, and I kind of blocked it out of my mind. And then yesterday I was on Google Earth, and I was just looking at stuff, and I was looking around Kingston and Big Sandy Bay Beach, and then I scrolled down to Picton and the sandbanks, and then I go, oh well, there's Trenton right there, and I just started zooming in on Trenton. I go, let's go take a look at the old house I used to live in, and then boom, everything came back. And I was sitting there looking at that house, and I'm like, okay, that's enough of that to just get rid of that. And it wasn't that there was anything. Maybe there was, if I think about it, maybe I got to go for therapy for that one. But there was some. It was a tough 2 years. It was tough on my mom. It was tough on my sisters. It was tough on me. I was the oldest at 8, and my other sisters were they were little girls at the time. I mean, my youngest sister was 1, and my other sister was like 3. 3? Was she 3? Yeah, 3. I had to think about that. So I'm 5 and 7 years older than my younger sisters, and trying to navigate a new town, new friends, a new school, and then everybody's my dad's not around because he's away most of the time. I say 3 months, it might have been 6. I don't know, like a 3 month period here where he was home and a 3 month period there where he was home, sort of thing. But he was gone for most of that 2 year period, and it was super challenging. And reading about the story James wrote, the article James wrote, not story, the article James wrote, and it reminds me of that. I mean, again, my parents are still married; they're still together, but it was a 2 years where they were separated most of the time by occupation, service to the country. My father being in the military, and the trauma that it held on us. Now, I never had the feelings of if I was better, if I behaved better, I never had that feeling because none of that. Uh, it wasn't my parents' choice to be apart like that. It was they hate being apart.
Yeah.
So I had that to fall back on, but it was very difficult for my mom for that 2 year period,
Yeah.
and I remember it vividly. And believe me, yesterday looking at that, going on Google Earth and dropping on the street and staring at the front door of that house, and then looking at the trails I used to walk, and uh, yeah, there was some serious trauma in that 2 year period that I never realized until yesterday how buried it was. I had trauma about getting sent to the hospital in St. John's, Newfoundland, and I've dealt with that to a certain degree. It'll never go away, but there's a 2-year period in my life that I need to talk to a therapist about, because it affected the entire rest of my life, and it still is, and I didn't realize it until yesterday.
Yeah. 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 My Beaver sweetie has been incredibly affected. And he, like, part of it, he doesn't understand why. He's like, I don't know these people, and my family's not divorced. But unfortunately, he lost his mom at an early age. But yeah, it's like yesterday morning he woke up and it's like, I'm sad. It's like, why are you sad? It's like, well, the news yesterday. It's like, wow, you're still carrying it tomorrow, today? And it's like, yeah, I am. It was just, I don't know. There's some couples you see together and you think, right, that they're going to be together. Like, I just saw this musical called Company at one point, and there's a part in the musical where the main character is talking to a couple, and goes, "You two seem so perfect together. You always, and they're always talking to each other lovingly and being considerate." And says, "Yes, and that's why we're getting a divorce." It's like, it's go, what? Of all my couples, of all my friends, you? It's like, what? Like this, and they're all happy about it. Like this, and yes, like this, and we'll keep on keeping to be a little family. Like this, oh yes, we are so much happier now that we've made it. They're all. It's like, please, I'm wishing you a very, very happy divorce if it, if it works. But it's, it's, you can, yeah, it's. I just had this impression, it's like I keep on looking at that Vogue picture, and of course, it could have been true then. Right? But when he's holding her, and it's like the way they're looking at each other, it's like, he loves her, and she
I'm
loves
sure he
him.
still does.
Well,
And I'm
like
sure
we said
there's
yesterday,
that's,
sometimes love is not enough,
Oh,
particularly in politics.
you know what? When I was young and naive, I used to say love can conquer all. Love, and my mom would say, "No, Paul, that's not the case.
Yeah.
It really isn't." And I'm like, "Oh, don't be silly." And I'm like,
I've experienced one
dumb
breakup.
kid, right?
I've experienced one breakup in my life where love was definitely not the issue. Oh God, I cried.
There's a million different reasons things, and you can, still love one another, but it's like,
Oh,
you know,
I would be lying to say if I still didn't. It was like we're friends still. And every time I get a message, it's like, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" It's always happy. I want nothing but good for him. I went to his wedding. He's happily married over 10 years with someone, and great guy, the perfect guy for him. Um, I was not it, and I knew it. And I was crazy about him, and he was crazy about me, and I knew it was not sustainable. It was the only relationship I've ever ended. Usually I'm the dumpy.
right.
It was hard. It was hard. So yeah, we were just at different points in our lives. Like, he wanted me to move in so we could build a life together. And I had just bought my first home, someone who's never had a home, being a foster kid.
Right.
And I really wanted to live in it because it was like the biggest accomplishment of my life. I mean, I never got a driver's license because I never thought I'd have enough money to drive a car, and I was buying a condo at 29. So it was like, and I thought about it like many years later. It's, we could have done this, or we could have done that, or we could try to work it out, or do an interim step, and it didn't occur to either of us at the time because we were young and stupid, and we saw limited possibilities. Yeah, it's yes, as Jillian says, I'm sad for the loss of their love. They seemed so happy, and that was the thing too. It just seemed so happy, and I have no doubt. Um, that given Justin's past, that they will move mountains and oceans and any other thing that could possibly exist in order to make a good life for their kids. I'm that part I'm not worried about.
Oh, yes.
But I just say, I keep on saying, you know, um, Xavier is 15, Ella Grace is 14, and Hadrian is
Yeah.
9.
Yeah.
The older two, I'm pretty sure, probably have a cell phone and access to internet.
Yeah. If not, they have friends at school that
Again,
do, right? So
be careful what you write. Be careful what you
well,
write.
a lot of people are gonna find out what it's like when you play with fire. You can get burned, and people saying some really hateful, homophobic, misogynistic, disgusting
Mhm.
things.
Yep. And as that,
We see you. We see you. We're taking note of it.
mm,
You're FO now. You're FA now. You're gonna FO
yeah,
later.
and as Joey said yesterday from that tweet we quoted, remember, all of you who are doing this, especially those of you who are doing this gleefully,
Mm-hmm.
all of your friends who once went through divorce, either through getting a divorce or being a child of divorce, are watching you do this, and we're judging you. We're judging you.
Oh yes.
All right. You want to do the big news for today?
Yes. Let's do that,
Well,
shall we?
then let's have our friend in. Kids and Cubs, let's have a round of applause for Kit Dan.
Hey
Woo!
Dan, how's it
Hey,
going, brother?
my friend.
Morning, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing really well.
Good,
How are
good.
you?
Just waking up, so forgive the eyeball.
No worries.
Sorry, excuse me. I've got that in my throat. Mm.
Just,
Oh well, that
just to
happens.
start off, too, I just want to say, James, man, thanks for sharing, buddy. There's a lot of people that need to hear these stories, and I hope nobody watches this, but you got me in tears, buddy. So yeah, just keep up sharing the story and stay strong for your family. That's what you got to do, man.
Yep, I agree with you. Okay, my friend, you know that on this show, we often say because democracy is something that you do. And it seems that you are doing it. Please lay it on us. Give us the news.
Well, like I said in the chat, there, we had a by-election here in Toronto just recently. City council seat was given up, as it should have been for three people that were running for mayor, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, so just basically the way it boils down is next Thursday there is an emergency meeting where Mayor Olivia Chow is going to be appointing all her committee heads and her deputy mayors and such. The next council meeting will be October 11th, where they'll be declaring the seat in Ward 20 Scarborough vacant. And I've done it 3 times before, and I'm going to do it again this time because we need to involve community in decision-making processes. So just basically what it boils down to is expect to see my name on the ballot for the Ward 20 City Councillor coming up here in Toronto. Thank you, guys. I watch this show because I don't know a lot about the federal postings. My expertise is in Ontario and specifically Toronto. So I watch you guys to get those. But yeah, I'm going to be putting my name up on that ballot. I probably shouldn't be wearing this shirt as I'm saying it, but I don't give a beep anymore. But yeah, it's all about community. We all have our strong points, right? We go off base sometimes. We get angry sometimes. That's why we come into spaces like this. And Casual Friday tonight, everybody join James. But
Oh,
yeah,
did he
that's
say
what
it's
we
on?
share. Sorry,
Did he say it's on?
I believe he did. No.
Oh, okay. I missed it. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Missed that too. Yeah.
Okay, good, good.
So I just wanted to share it with you all. And yeah, just keep focusing. And no matter if it's your family within the community, what you got to do to help, just keep focusing. There's a lot of things you guys don't hear about within politics. You guys know that from some of the dealings you've had. And I'm not here to bash anybody, right? I'm just here to try to help the community with the experiences I've had, right? I show a lot of people, and it's not a bragging thing, but that's the dedication. That's a real tattoo there, right?
Oh
That's
yeah.
Yep.
Toronto
Yeah.
symbol. And yeah, basically, I'm 45, and this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. That's what it boils down to for me. So hope to get the support in there. Obviously, I got the support of some counselors and staff, and even media, even if they don't want to admit it. So we'll see what happens with that coming up. But yeah, I would say look forward to that approximately about October 11th.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Cool.
it's clear, obviously, you love your city. Tell us, the kids that are watching and people who might be watching from Toronto, who might be living in the ward, who might be considering what their vote is. What do you do 9 to 5 regularly? Because I know you work with the city or for the city.
Yeah, so basically right now I work for Councillor Paul Ainsley. What I do, the main part of my portfolio is to help with the public housing. So Toronto Community Housing here in Toronto, help guide people towards the proper staff and facilities that they need. And I'm also the guy that goes to the various apartments within Ward 24, Scarborough Guildwood, and I explain to people the issues they want to talk, the answers to the issues they want to talk about. It's called basically mobile constituency offices. Hi, how you doing? I'm Dan. I'm here on behalf of the city. What's your municipal issue you want to discuss? Yada yada. But it happens to be right next door to the Ward 20. And the first question people will ask her is, "Do you live there?" Right? No, I don't live there. But the special quality I have is that I was homeless 19 years, so I actually lived in various parts of the city, full understanding of the city, municipality, bylaws, and such. But this area of Ward 20 is actually directly on the border with the area I've been working with for the past 5 years. So every single issue that they've had has passed through my office, whether it be shootings, bylaws, parking bylaws, the TTC, police issues. It's all gone through my office. So I have the full experience of that with them. As well, I worked on 5 different municipal elections last year, campaigns here in Toronto. And I was the campaign manager for an independent candidate here in Eglinton Lawrence in the provincial election. So yeah, the connections are there over the past, I don't know, 3.5 decades that I've been doing work in the city. The connections are there, the people are there, and most importantly, the will is there. If you don't have the will to actually help out, and not just do it for, see, I'm not in this to make it to the province. I don't want to become an MPP. I don't want to be PM. I don't want to be any of that. The most issues that affect you every day are the local issues in your municipality.
Right.
So the things that are important to me are housing and transit, because I'm a full-time TTC user.
Yep.
And I was homeless. I am currently living in an RGI unit, which if I didn't have, I'd be homeless all over again. So I'm thankful for that. I just want to share the experiences with people. And yeah, hopefully get somebody on council that has both lived and professional experience to take this city forward. Because we hear how great it is. We got to make it great. We can't just say it. We got to do it. So that's my reasoning behind wanting to run. And yeah, I just totally appreciate you guys allowing me to come on and share with everybody this morning. So that's great.
Absolutely. No, we're really proud of you, and we're definitely supporting. I mean, this is what we preach. Tell us, where does your passion for municipal and local politics come from?
So my mother actually was a 32-year civilian member of the TPS, Toronto Police Service. She started off as an auxiliary officer as well as a crossing guard. And it's come full circle this weekend because we're having all the celebrations for, I don't know what they call it now, but it was Caravana. So my mom was one of the people that first started back on that years ago here in my home neighborhood now of Little Jamaica in Toronto. So she went on to do parking enforcement for 19 years and ended her career at the non-emergency number 808-2222 for the Toronto Police Service. So that is my first direct line to wanting to serve the public. But as my battles and troubles went through from 97 to 2016, I was homeless. So that is the main reason is why I wanted to give back to the community through my experiences. Because a lot of the times we hear about and I might get animated here, but we hear about the Brian Lilly's screwing Doug Ford's person, and Doug Ford doing this, and PP doing this, and Trudeau's separate. And, we hear about all these fascinating stories, but we don't hear about the intricate behind the scenes stories. We don't hear about the people that have been homeless for multiple years. And I'm a firm believer too. If you're going to be discussing something, have some lived experience with it, right? Like, I would never go give a speech about economics because I don't know the first thing about it, right? But you got to have that lived experience to actually sit here like this and do this ad lib. That's a key thing for people to look for. If you see somebody doing an ad lib, it's in their heart, they've been there, and they've been doing it. But if you see somebody doing, and I would like to thank the people, then they're doing shit, right?
Yeah, it's phony.
Grizzly.
Yep, I hear that. Okay, so of course you're interested in issues pertaining to homelessness and the TTC. Is there anything else that you would have on your agenda or on your platform?
Well, in the area of in question here, especially, and in a lot of areas in Toronto, what's happened is it's about housing and infrastructure. But the problem is the way the city did it is they did it backwards. They didn't build no infrastructure. There's no transit out there. As you all know, the Line 3 Scarborough SRT has been decommissioned early.
Right.
I've been traveling it for the past 2 weeks. It's hell, shuttle buses packed to the nines. So what they should focus on is getting the programs in there. But once you're building a community and you're building the condos or the townhomes or whatever, like, if you don't have the infrastructure there, if you don't have the programs there, it's a waste. And so I just ask people to focus. If you're going to focus on the issues and go through the processes, form your own analysis or opinion. Because, for example, everybody was praising Jennifer Keesmaat, right? Last couple of elections ago, running against John Tory. Oh, she's great. She's great. Well, she might be a nice person, but she isn't great because of the fact that she was in charge of city planning for 10 years. And no infrastructure got built, but the condos were, as Doug and Rob were saying, booming, right? Yeah. But there was no infrastructure. So if you got 50,000 people going into a building, you need some new sewer systems that are younger than 100 years old. So these are the types of things that I think the city's got to focus on. They got a great group of people down there, right? It's just far too often people jump into the, oh, I wonder what Doug's going to think. Oh, I wonder what JT's going to think, right? You got to focus on what your community's thinking, because if you get 25 people working together as one, fuck, just imagine everything you can accomplish. If everybody just focused on one idea together, even if you got to focus on it with Pierre Poilievre, whatever, you focus on that one idea, and imagine if you get that done 50 times, and you don't just got one idea, you got 50 ideas, right? But far too often people focus on the big picture and the end goal right away, and it's sometimes it's not about individual aspects of things. You got to think about your community. You got to. If JT or PP or whoever is voted in tomorrow, it doesn't affect me. I don't drive. I've never flown on an airplane before. The only thing that's affecting me is grocery inflation prices. Other than that, none of this shit affects me, right? So people got to focus on what does best for the community as a whole, because if the community thrives, you're going to thrive. And that's just the way it is. And until people figure that out, it's going to be the same repetitive, nonstop BS over and over again. That's what I get frustrated at. And that's why I, like Paul there, drink my coffee, think about these things, and then form my own opinions and do things like run for council or actually help the community.
Yeah. When do the papers have to be in?
I've had the nomination papers in my closet for the past 2 months. So everybody's been bugging me. First they say, run for mayor. You know what? I could do the job of mayor physically in the office, but the actuality is you have to have an understanding of the businesses. You have to have an understanding of whatever, hospitals, everything overall and the totality of it. And I wouldn't want to punk off the community like that, right? They need a person there that can handle all that and that has those connections to the businesses. I have a connection to the communities. The businesses in that area, yes, but the overall businesses, like, I don't have a stake in any game. I don't have investments. So to me and the business community, that wouldn't thrive as mayor. But to jump in and try to contribute as counselor, and then by the way, just so folks know, I'm not just doing this on the whim. I have run 3 times before, once in 2013, once in 14 against Paula Fletcher, and once in 2021 in a by-election. And it's just simply to help the community. And people need to focus on helping the community and not so much on how Doug Ford or Justin Trudeau is going to feel if you become a counselor. And it's just that simple.
And that's what gets forgotten, I think, is that people don't realize that you need to start on the ground floor. And as you said earlier, Dan, municipal politics is the one that affects your life the most directly, which is why I get upset when the turnout is so low. It's like, it's a municipal election. These are the people that will affect every aspect of your daily life, and you're not voting. And I sit around with my whiskey and cigar guys, and every one of them are like, I don't like any of them, but I got to vote because they're all going to, and we're all in agreement. And these guys are, I have somebody who worked for the Liberal Party. I've got an NDP guy. We've got a bunch of progressive conservatives. We got one guy who's kind of fallen into the CPC. We don't talk very much, but he's still a good person. He's had the wool pulled over his eyes, but we all are in lockstep agreement. Municipal politics is the most important election you can ever vote in.
Absolutely.
It really is. Municipal politics, within, they handle your garbage. They handle your housing. This is what a lot of people don't know. I'm hearing this housing talk with the feds, right? And federally, the only involvement they have is to funding and major programs for refugees. So when housing happens, the calls come into, I'm the guy at the other end for Councillor Paul Ainsley on the phone, who you're bringing your concerns to as well, right? So to hear everybody talking about housing, it happens on a municipal level, right?
That's right.
I'm the guy that's guiding you to the public house. So you have an understanding of this. And by me running, not only do I want to help, but it's to bring to light those issues that people don't understand. Because whether they want to admit it or not, mainstream media has known, just for example, known about me for, 4 or 5 years now. Have you ever seen me on an interview? Have you ever seen me get on CP24 breakfast television or anything? It's because and when I say that, I want people to understand it's not for me. It's just to bring to light lived experience, right? My 15 minutes is already come and gone, so I'm cool with it, right? But they got to have the full understanding. So unless people start to get the word out there, it's never going to happen. So what I suggest to people, what I do sometimes if you watch it, for example, breakfast television on City TV every morning, I'll throw in comments. They have a thing called sound off. So where you could throw in comments about things going on. And I throw those comments in. And believe it or not, people watch that, right? They might not admit it to you, but I'm getting calls every morning. Hey, Dan, great quote. Hey, Dan, great comment this morning, right? So you got to take all that and then not get frustrated, not flip out on the media and, the mainstream media doesn't want to take me in. No, you work your magic, you talk to people, and look where I am this morning. I'm on one of the greatest podcasts here with 2 of the nicest guys I haven't met you guys yet. 2 of the nicest guys on. I don't listen to this shit. I'm going to be straight with you. Sorry, Mrs. Grizzly, for the cuss word. I don't listen to this kind of crap. You guys, anything prior media, and as well, James, the Fridays, like, that's the stuff I listen to because that's where the real people are. They come in, they express their feelings, and they want to talk about it. They don't just want to yell. They want to talk about it and try to come up with a solution. That's what I'm all about, coming up with solutions that work for everybody, not just myself.
Well, it's all about having a conversation. We've been saying we're trying to build a community here, and we are building. And I mean, come on, look, this chat community is amazing. Oh, I get goosebumps. Like literally, I get goosebumps. There's so many wonderful people, and everybody's coming in with something positive to add to the conversation.
Right.
Because we all want to make this place a better place. And the thing you said, Dan, that's really important. When let's go back to Trudeau and Hamilton saying it's not a federal responsibility; it's a provincial matter. But it really begins at the municipal level, right? Housing. It's municipal. Province will dole out money. The municipality takes care of the housing, and the feds will give some money to the provinces. And we got out of the federal government got out of building houses 30 years ago under Chrétien, and then Harper basically completely exited any sort of federal involvement with
Right.
public housing in any way, shape, or form. So it really is, it's a provincial responsibility in the, in the sense that they dole out the cash, but it's municipal level that gets it done.
Mhm.
Well, that's
don't
what a lot,
realize
and you're exactly right on that. And that's what a lot of people don't know too, right? It's the feds and the province that dole out the money, right? And then you'll hear programs like this stupid idea. I'm gonna have to have a talk with that jackass someday. But Doug Ford going into the green belt and building 150 homes. Who's gonna buy those homes? People on ODSP or OW?
no.
So
It's going to
the
be
only
multi-million
housing that
dollar
you
homes.
hear. Sorry, I got a little delay. My bad if I interfere or interject here. When you hear Doug Ford talking about housing, when you hear Justin talking about housing, Justin is talking about housing, and the only housing program they can come out with publicly is for refugees, because anything refugee status or what have you is federal.
Right.
When Doug Ford comes out and says, "Yeah, we're going to build housing," that's just we all know that's just to appease his fucking golf buddies and his highway building buddies. And when people come to me, I like, for just as a quick example, so I don't take up all your time. When people come to me, I'm getting cases like a mother with a 6-day-old baby sheltering her kid on the TTC because they can't fucking get into housing. I myself waited for housing. Sorry, my glasses fell there. But like I myself waited for housing for, I don't know, 13 years. And if I didn't have that RGI unit now, everybody says, "Oh, you work for council. You're rich. You're good." No, I'm not good. I'm a part-time fucking council worker who goes in and listens to your murder cases, your suicide cases, your bedbug cases, your I'm taking care of my grandkids who can't do it anymore case. That's what I'm listening to every day. And as far as I'm concerned, I've gotten no help from the feds or the province in dealing with these issues over the past 5 years. So listen carefully to the narrative. When they say affordable housing, that's for middle class people or whatever.
Yep.
I hate putting labels on people, but it's for people that can afford $3,000 a month rent. That's affordable housing. People on ODSP and OW only get $700 and $1,000 respectively. Do the math, right?
Right.
Doesn't add up. So I think one thing we should say above board, and I'll take this time to do it very quickly. We need RGI, which is rent geared to income, RGI housing for people at a certain income level across the board, across the country,
Agreed.
so that you can move from province to province if you have to be closer to your supports and families. But unfortunately, that's not the way they want to do things, and they want to drag things on. So I just, do what we're doing here today. Get involved, listen to folks, listen to everybody, not just me. Listen to the ideas you think are stupid too, and then form your own opinion and build something upon that. I'm self-taught. Everything is ad lib. I don't read from nothing. You'll see me give speeches. I don't read nothing. Everything is ad lib. It's because of the lived experience, and that's what we need at the table, whether it be LGBTQ issues, Indigenous issues, whatever issues, or seniors issues. You need that lived experience on the table. There's no reason this white guy from Middle Toronto should be speaking about an Indigenous issue without an Indigenous elder or person at the table. That's just the way I believe. And so going forward with what's going on here, I'm excited about it. I'm also aware of what can and can't happen.
Right.
And I'll fight until these eyes close. You know what I'm saying? For these issues to be taken care of, because I'm seeing too many of my friends dying on the street, and the ones that haven't died are still down on so-called Skid Row in downtown Toronto.
Yeah.
So we need to help people across the board, not just in our own backyard, but start there and work outwards.
Yep. I am right with you on RGI. My family's personally benefited from it. My mom, unfortunately, was schizophrenic and couldn't work, and eventually got placed on ODSP. And if it wasn't for RGI, that story I was telling earlier about when I was 16 and getting to at least spend weekends with her, that would not have happened.
Yeah.
Right.
It's 100%. And like I said, for myself, things are great. I'm going to survive, right? I'm not rich. Like I said, I don't drive. I don't fly. I've never touched an ocean, but I've decided that dedicating my life to these issues now is the way to go, because that's where my life has been. And same thing, my mom, my parents, these stories are touching me. I'll make the long story short. I had spinal meningitis at 3 months old. And all through my life, my parents were split by the time I was 1. And all through my life, I never had that father figure. My mother didn't get remarried until I was 21 years old. For whatever reason, and I don't want to knock him because we're good now, right? So if he happens to watch this, Dad, please don't take this as a shot. But he ignored me for 40 years. And I have 4 other siblings. And there was no rhyme or reason behind it. And I always thought it was because maybe I was the cause of their split up when I had the meningitis. Apparently he pussied out and he ran away, right? And that's okay. I understand, right? Because we're good now. And he's explained things to me. But it all ties back to, and I hate to sound repetitive, but it ties back to the experiences. You live these experiences, and what you decide to do with them, which is why I'm very proud of James. I haven't met James yet either, but we've had a talk or two on his shows. Unless you speak up and share your experiences, there's going to be A, no solutions, and B, nobody can learn from them. You can't learn if you keep it inside. Speak. Listen is key too. You have to listen, but also speak, share your stories. And like I said, even if you don't agree on everything, come together for that one issue. Just imagine what can happen across the board.
You really nailed it with that. A real human moment that people can relate to. And I'm going to give you an anecdotal story here. I'll be as quick as I can. We're all familiar with Rachel Gilmore, correct? Mm-hmm. Former Global News reporter, lives here in Ottawa. And she does a lot of work, and she's come forward, and she's come forward and said, "Yeah, I have mental health issues. I take medication for it." And a lot of people piled on her for it. And then, of all the people in the world who I didn't expect to have her back on that one, I was shocked. But at the same time, saying, "Okay, you've had a real human moment. Keep rolling with it. Keep rolling with it." And then he didn't after that. But it was Laurie Goldstein from the Toronto Sun. Mm-hmm. He said, "I also am on antidepressants, and if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be here right now." I'm like, that's a real human moment. People want to connect with that.
Right.
Because we can relate to it, because it's something we understand. It's, like you said, Dan, a lived experience that we can relate to. So when people in mainstream media, if you will, forget that they're still human beings first, that's where they lose the plot. And this is why I'm so happy that Charles Adler is a part of the Crier Media Network, because Charles is as real as it gets, right? And I don't know if you saw I wouldn't call it an interview. I think the chat the three of us had together on our show. It was a real, and he only had 10 minutes. We ended up talking for 90. But it was like, this is a major media personality in this country who is as real and as human as it gets. And people can relate to that. And that's how you win over hearts and minds, by being real, being authentic, being 100%.
And I did see that. And also he praised you guys for the work you were doing and extended an offer to you guys to talk anytime. And it's not because you owe him anything or he owes you anything. It's because you showed that you were real and had that conversation. I've never met him before, but I've listened to each and every one of the shows that he's done with you guys and with Dean. And that's the kind of person I want to sit down and have a beer with and pick his brain, right? Because it's the lived experiences. He's admitting to you what he was before, but he's telling you where he wants to go going down the line. He's not faking a story. He's not. That's what I love about each and every one of the crew. Let me rephrase that. About all the crew that I've met so far that have dealings with Crier Media or Dean or whoever, it's that you guys are real. And whether we want to hear it or not, you tell us, but you're telling us from lived experience. You're not just telling us from that head up there or from the back of your ass, right? You're talking from lived experience. And that's what people need to hear. When it comes to Rachel, I didn't know that she, obviously I followed the stories. I'm friends with Karima, so I followed all the stories going through. Yeah. And sure, I probably cussed her out once or twice, right? But if she's admitting that she's had a problem and that she's getting some help for it and what have you, I can accept that and move forward from that. But it's what you do with everything in the totality going forward, right? Mm-hmm. If you're here just to yell and scream and hear your own narrative, it's never going to work. It's these same people. This is what I'll end it with that. This is what I think is ruining it. It's these small groups of people that have to have people like Blue Jacket Paul go up to them and yell at them and say to them, like, what the fuck? What the F are you doing, man? What's going on here, right? If they come with reality, I'm all for it. I've been to a couple protests. I don't mind them, right? If they make sense, make it make sense. But it's these people that are just yelling, constantly yelling, and somehow they get on the mainstream media and get interviewed year after year. And it's frustrating because there's plenty of people like me who are doing the hard work in the community, and it just all gets flushed down the drain when these people yell their own narrative, like, or throw eggs at fucking throwing 4 eggs and hitting only 2 of them at the window, by the way, poor aim. But for what? What's that going to do? What's that going to do? I know it's a form of protest or what have you, but what's it going to do? All they're going to do is wash off that fucking window and wait for the next guy to do it, right?
Yeah.
So get informed, help people, and get involved in the community, right? I'm not perfect. I'm leaving here today. I'm going to buy a 6-pack of beer. I'm probably going to twist up 2 joints and just reflect during the day and wait for tonight's show with James, right? But I don't work till Tuesday. So I have time to reflect and share these thoughts with people. And I'm glad that I was able to share some of them with you guys tonight. And like I said in the chat, I go off base sometimes. I get it.
That's fine.
You know, we all do. But when push comes to shove and it's time to get down to the grind, let's fix this. Let's work together and let's make some things happen. You never know what can happen, right?
Right, Dan. I am really impressed with what you're saying. I'm a big fan of the authenticity piece, and people are starving for authenticity. I think, based on this conversation, what I've known from you from before, and your engagement and your commitment to the community, that and people have said it in the chat, you're the type of counselors that people need.
Well, they want reality, right? What people want to know is, what are you going to do and what can you do for them? They don't give a shit what you do behind closed doors. If you're making deals to better your portfolio, they don't care. What are you going to do for them? And when is it going to happen? You know, for example, this SRT in Scarborough that I take every day that I get interrupted when I'm listening to your guys' program, right? Because of the shitty service in the TTC. Fix that, guys. But, you know, I listen because there's different stories. There's different folks, and there's going to be people that yell at you. There's going to be people that probably write to you guys here and saying, why do you have that jerk off on TV? I don't care anymore. I'm not listening to you people anymore that are doing the negativity. I'm going to listen to it, but I'm not going to act upon it or judge or base my day on what you say or do. It's the people that actually want to affect change, right? And if it happens to be somebody else, hey, all the power to them. I will stand side by side with you. But when it comes to this, I personally just had enough, and I'm just saying point blank, get ready, Ward 20.
All right. I have one last question for you before we go. Given that this is your 4th rodeo, what have you learned from the first 3 that you're bringing in?
Okay, so very quickly before I go, the first time I ran was 2013. You guys can Google this. It was when a guy named Doug Holliday left City Council. So his seat came up for grabs. Rob, sorry folks, don't disconnect me from the show. I used to work at Deco Labels and Tags, right? So that's my connection to the Ford since 1999. So Rob was still mayor at the time. I figured, okay, I run, get the experience. I know I'm not going to win because it's an appointment. So they're going to appoint their friend. So get the experience. The second time I ran was in 2014 against Paula Fletcher. And everything was going great. I was attending all the debates. I knew, again, an experience so that I can learn politics. Probably wasn't going to win, but get in there, get in the debates, feel comfortable. I did the whole Rogers debate with her and everything. We get to the final debate, and it just so happens to be the day that clown rushed Parliament Hill that day with the gun or whatever, and they shot him dead.
Yeah. Yep.
And one of the people that I was running against was Adam Vaughn's sister-in-law. So everybody was focused on him. Oh, his safety. Is he okay? Oh, Jane, is he okay? Is he? So it took away from the whole, you know, debates and shit.
Right.
The most recent one in 2021, it was just a case of where a counselor got caught. I want to watch the words I use because I know the guy's a prick and he'll try to sue me. But it was when Councillor Karagiannis got caught in his little money debacle. And I went through the whole process of the by-election, come to find out that it was his executive that got the position. Not only that, but he was helping behind the scenes the whole way through. So, you know, you go through these things, you learn these things as you go. And now I'm at the point where, okay, you know what? You guys can't hurt me anymore. You can't hurt me by telling people fake stories about me. You can't hurt me by pulling your fraudulent actions. The community knows me. I've been working in that community now for 5 years. Put your experience to work or just shut your mouth, Dan. So I'm choosing to put my experience to work instead of shutting my mouth. And like I said, I poor pity any of those candidates coming. I hope you bring great ideas to the table, but it's going to be a wonderful ride and a wonderful experience. And sorry, I just noticed the angel light above my head. I'll fix that for next time.
Hey,
No
maybe
worries.
that's a sign. Maybe
Yeah,
that's a sign.
not claiming to be perfect, but I know my shit when it comes to this stuff, and I'm just going to share my experiences, and hopefully, come October or December, whenever the by-election happens, you'll be hearing the name, your new Toronto City Councillor Dan Trace, Ward 20.
I want to hear those words.
I'll do my best.
Words. And I think a lot of kids here like to hear it because you've made a very good impression this morning based on what's on the chat here.
I'm going to go back and read them later because I can't really see any of them now. I'm on a phone, right? So, but I'm going to go back and read them, and I will respond to anybody. And like I said to you guys, anybody that needs help, obviously continue joining in every weekday morning at 7 a.m. to True North Eager Beaver podcast. Or check me out at DJT624 or give me an email, drop me a line. I'm available anytime.
All right.
How can you not love this man? How can you not love this man?
Well, I know a few people that can give you that argument how they cannot love me, but you know what? Today they don't matter. Today James matters. Today you guys matter. Today everybody in this community matters. And thank you for listening, man. Thank you for the opportunity, guys. That was wonderful.
Dude, you do media very, very, very well.
then maybe Christina Tenalia, Catherine McDonald, Angelina King, maybe you should all have me on. Remember, it's not about me. It's for the community as a whole.
Well, my friend, just so you know, if you can use this in any way, shape, or form to help you with your campaign, please do. Whatever copyright there is, we're waiving it for you. So if you can use this in for you, you can put it up somewhere. Please do. You definitely have our permission. We are more than happy.
Repost it anywhere you want, man.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate this community. Like I said, reach out anytime, and I will keep in touch. I watch every fucking. I gotta work on this cursing if I'm gonna be, But you know what? You know what the beauty is? The beauty is everybody in the community knows that this is me. Yeah, so I don't have to fake anything, right?
No.
But yeah, I will be talking to you guys. And like I said, anybody that needs any help, reach out to me at DJT624 or reach out through Douglas and Paul and you get a hold of me. I'll help you out here in Toronto.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get any message to you. All right. Well, my friend, you definitely have our encouragement. You definitely have our support. And please, throughout the campaign, come back and give us some updates. Let us know how it's going.
100% will. You guys are stuck with me. Sorry about that.
We're okay with that, man. We're okay with that.
We keep on saying it when we ask for the donations and you just subscribe to our pod page. We're okay with commit.
Now, here's the thing about that. I don't have a credit card or anything, right? So that's why I go the route I want. So if you want to reach out to me, later, we got no problems. We can discuss that.
Yeah, and by the way, Paul, just so because we've been trying to do this, Dan is trying to get you the $50 for the Cornerstone thing. So we've been having trouble to connect. But yes, he wants to make that donation.
No worries.
I got it locked and ready. You guys have a great day, man. And everybody, continue doing what you're doing because you're obviously reaching the proper people. You're getting the message out to everybody. So continue doing what you're doing.
We will.
All right. Thank you, Dan.
Take care, brother.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Have a beaverific day.
That was great. I just want to, Jill Marie Lee watching on Facebook. If you want to join a great community, find us on the YouTube. Let me put the link to our YouTube. What is the link to our YouTube? You think I should know that, right?
Streams or something.
Hang on. I'll get the link here and post it in the chat so she can see it. The reason I say you might want to join us, if you can, join us on the YouTube channel is because you can meet a wonderful community of people in the chat that will really, we lift up and support one another, right?
Right,
we lift up and support.
Oh my God, look at these comments. Oh my God. Go, Dan, go. Dan stands. OMG. I'm hoping merch comes up soon because, as Crier's been slow on the merch and we should have some merch. If they did have it up, we would definitely say, let's create like a Dan stand t-shirt and have it up there and whatever sales we got.
That's partially my fault because I've not been able to. I start working on something and then squirrel.
Yeah, but I don't think it's up on the site though.
No, it's not even.
The merch is up yet. Yeah.
I got to get the designs in, and then we can go from there.
Okay, Cool. So hopefully the merch will be set up before, because I'd be more than happy to do that, to put a couple of Dan t-shirts there if Kits wanted to buy that, and make sure that some of it make sure that it gets to him. Why not? I don't know if we're allowed to. I don't know if that breaks rules or something, but if we're allowed, I'd be down for
this is
that.
who Dan is. Okay, check this. Okay, so this. Thank you very much, everyone, from Dan, and then he puts this up. I'm cool with any merch as long as the money goes to charity. Come on.
Oh,
That's a community
no,
minded
dude.
guy
This is
right
supposed to
there.
help your candidacy. I know, but this is supposed to help your candidacy so that you can run a campaign. I mean, campaigns take money, my friend. Campaigns take money. Don't sell yourself short. But what a guy.
Oh yeah.
What a guy.
Awesome.
God, we have the best audience.
Oh yeah, no argument there, man.
The best fans, the best audience. I can't. I love doing this.
Well, we're trying to be here as much for you as you are for us, because what you may not understand, and I don't know if I express it enough or if we express it enough, is that you mean more to us than we can ever express. Number one, and number two, I think you mean more to us than we do to you. But that's just my personal viewpoint. Like you mean so much to us, because there's just the two of us here, and there's like so many of you,
and I don't get up at 5 a.m. for anyone.
Yeah, 306 subscribers on the YouTube page, and then if we go across all the platforms, because we're on a lot of platforms, right?
Yeah,
I think our average viewership of each episode is around 1,500, so that it is growing. We'd like to bring more people onto the YouTube page so that they can really participate in the chat, which is where the community starts, right? And I understand, hey, look, if you can't join the live stream because 7 a.m. is not feasible for a lot of people.
Well, especially in a big country like ours.
Time zones, work schedules, life. You got to get the kids off to summer camp or whatever the case. I get it. Don't stress, don't fret. Here's the thing: if you can join the community, join the YouTube channel, you can on the replay you'll see the live chat. So you might not be able to. You can actually, when the replay comes up, you can participate in a live chat if you're watching live.
Yeah,
there's a live chat in replay. Yeah, and you can see the comments from previous episodes. If you go to past live streams, you'll see all of that. If you go into the debut, because we always do a replay the next day, right?
Yes.
And on the replay, when that's debuting, it debuts as a live replay, which means that there is a new chat available for that specific episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, because there was one the other day where I was watching, and our pal Jake was in the live stream on the replay. So I jumped in and made a couple of comments. We were talking back and forth, right? So yeah, there's an open chat for the live stream replay and the live stream. And then if you watch us while we're live, of course, you get to participate. So, and this is what Ms. Sadeke, this chat is my favorite chat of all the chats. This is the only place I feel comfortable talking about my life with a group of wonderful people other than Facebook. Thanks, Ms. Sadeke. Thank you. That means a lot to us, because because we want to foster a community of individuals, and we don't even have to be like-minded, right?
No.
Just as long as everybody comes in here and treats everybody with kindness and respect.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah. Kindness, respect, compassion and empathy can come along afterwards, but kindness and respect are the first two things. And if you have those, you can build from that.
Well, it's like I keep on saying, right? Everybody on the planet, everybody, by virtue of the fact they share the planet and breathe the same air, is due a basic minimum of respect and decency.
Mm-hmm.
From that point, everything else is earned.
That's right.
But if you don't come into the room at least with that minimum, you can't be in this room. You just can't. There's certain people we don't want on the team. And if you can't come correct into the room, then turn around and get out of the room.
Well,
Because you're going to find it very uncomfortable here.
and for for the kids and cubs in the chat now who may have caught an episode or two of my ASMR channel, which is all about mental health and trying to make life better. The thing that is paramount on that particular channel is that every human being on planet Earth is welcome to join. I have 2 rules. We do not talk politics. We do not talk religion.
On
You
ASMR,
check those at the door.
Yep.
Check them at the door. They're not up for discussion. Any isms, leave them. You can come in it as a look, and I mean this when I say this. If you show up to the ASMR channel and you're a Nazi, if you park your Nazism at the door and join the chat and listen to try and make your life better and realize that, oh, I realize I'm a Nazi because I have serious mental health issues, you can get some help then. You can leave, I mean that sincerely. If you come in and check that at the door, I don't know that you are that person. I don't need to know that you're that person. I just want you to come in and try and get some help. That's it. That's the whole premise of the channel. Help everyone. And it's the only way I know how to do it because, I'm not a man of financial means. So if I can help anybody, and here's the other thing too. See, squirrel. Here's the other thing too. ADHD, squirrel. The thing about it is that people have come to me and said, I used to think this way, and then I actually sat and listened to what you had to say because you said it in a calm and soothing manner so that I was able to hear what you had to say. You got me relaxed, and I listened, and I realized I was wrong about a lot of things. And I'm like, I'm not trying to teach anybody a lesson. I'm just trying to help. And so much of hatred, racism, sexism comes from a place of a mental health issue of some type. Love is natural. Hate is taught. Unlearn the hate. As our good friend Unlearn 16, unlearn the things that got you to that dark place.
Yep.
And that's my pontificating for the day. I got to grab another cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay, kids. Yesterday I was looking for it and I couldn't find it in my tickle trunk for some reason because it got wedged between 2 things. But today I am going to put it on. Yes, kitties. Santa Beaver's back because yesterday was Trump arraignment day. It's a raining men. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. The judge assigned to the Trump case has delivered some of the harshest sentences to January 6 defendants in her rulings. She has made her horror and her disgust about the day's events very clear. However, unlike certain other judges who have dealt with some of these cases, she has not torn into Trump personally as much as others in her rulings. Now, but she is the one that did make a previous decision in a case against Trump where she said, presidents are not kings and plaintiff is not president. I'm sure he loved that one. Just like I'm sure that I think the second line in the whole indictment is he lost the election. Matter-of-factly, very plainly stated. Yesterday, he did not meet that judge, though. His arraignment was before a magistrate judge. Sorry, you have something, Mr. Grizzly?
How long was I gone? Is it Christmas already? Holy crap.
Hey. I bring the ho, ho, ho.
Not touching that. No.
See, that's the problem. Everybody does. This time, I will always first diss myself. Yes, the arrangement, however, was before a magistrate judge. And this is totally luck of the draw, right? Just like in Florida, he drew Aileen Cannon again. Yes, the judge is Obama appointed, which kind of makes me happy. And it's a black woman, which kind of makes me happy. as well. But there's something like 25 different judges in this one, so it was put in a hat. It was and he happened to draw her. Hey, that's he does the judge shopping, hoping that he'll get something, and sometimes, well, it doesn't work for him, and this time it didn't. He really wants the case to be moved out of D.C. because it's primarily a Democratic city, and he says that there's no chance he'll get a fair trial there. But I don't remember it being written anywhere in any legal documents that the manner in which the city in which the trial is going to be held voted gets to determine whether or not you get to move a trial somewhere else. This guy just keeps on inventing new rights. That's just of course. Now, in the room last time when it was the documents case, Trump was sitting there with his arms around himself, giving them that self-soothing hug that Daddy never gave him, and he was looking elsewhere, whereas Jack Smith, special prosecutor, had his eyes laser focused on Trump. This time, apparently, it was the opposite, where it was Trump who was basically, I think it's pronounced glowering. It's a word I've only seen written. I've never heard said. So I'm going to say glowering.
You got it.
Glowering.
You got it.
Glowering. I know what it means, but I can't pronounce it for some reason. At Smith, and Smith, who was not returning any of his glances. So it was almost like last time he was staring you down. He says, "Oh yeah, well this time I'm the one who's going to be staring him down." Sorry, that was more Cartman than Trump.
That was Cartman, totally Cartman.
Give me my cheesy poops. And now give me some pie.
Well, Cosmo's bitch, she's a big bad bitch, she's big.
So, it's almost like somebody told him, says, "Well, this time I'm going to stare him down." And it's like Jack goes, "I see you coming." I'm just not going to return your glance. I mean, remember, Jack Smith is the War Crimes Tribunal guy, or the International Criminal Court guy. He's been called worse by way better.
Oh yeah.
Now, of course, Trump, once again, and again here, you got to remember the rule that every time he says America, replace it with him, his name, his own name. Yeah. This is a very sad day for America.
No, it's no.
Actually not.
No, it's a very happy day for America.
It's a very America's like going, "Oh, happy day, oh, happy day." It's breaking out, and they got the gospel robes on. It's like, "He showed me how."
Showed me how. I can't do the high notes on that one.
Come on,
he
baby.
showed me how. I can't do the high notes from that.
He showed me how.
Hey, Pluto!
That's
my Mickey Mouse. Hey, Donald. Hey, Pluto. Hey, if Mickey was a mouse, Donald was a duck. Goofy was a dog. No, Pluto was a dog. What the hell is Goofy?
I don't know. But when I was young, we were so poor we couldn't afford Mickey Mouse. We just had Mickey Moose and Donald Buck.
That's good.
I didn't know.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's a good one. That's a good one. Write it down. That's a good one.
MICKEYMOOSE, Mickey Mouse. Donald Buck.
It was the cheap CBC National Film Board of Canada version, right?
Yes. I think we've given James a new porn name. Donald
Buck.
I think before it was Oral Roberts or Robert Oral.
You got it, Jim. That was the pop culture reference.
Yes. So, yes, this is a very sad day for America. This is a persecution. Sorry, got to do the accordion hands. This is a persecution of a political opponent. This is the persecution of the person that is leading by very substantial numbers in the Republican primary, which a judge doesn't give two shits about, and leading Biden by a lot. Yes, 43-43. I believe was the last New York Times national poll that just came out like 2 days before he said that. Yeah, sure. You're leading Biden by a lot. Mm-hmm. So if you can't beat him, you persecute him or you prosecute him. Isn't that your playbook, Donnie? You knew you couldn't beat Hillary, so you persecuted and prosecuted, and then you didn't know you can beat Biden. So you called Ukraine and said, just say he's under investigation and leave the rest for me and to my buddies, which is kind of funny because in the indictment for the current thing, there's also the person that you told, I think, yes. Oh, yeah. There's the dance.
We need
There's also,
to get some Photoshop work done there, and you know what we're going to do with it, right? I'm sorry, but
do the
come
jump man.
on.
Take your fists back and forth and move them side to side. Yo, hey, what's happening, dude? You're the guy for the rep for being rude. Do the jump man. Geez. So yeah, if you can't beat him, you persecute him or you prosecute him, which is like, jeez. Which is basically his playbook. So again, every accusation is a confession here.
Oh, yes.
Apparently, if he gets the maximum on absolutely everything, just on the January 6th stuff, just for the things he's charged with now, before all the conspiracy stuff actually comes in, because all the co-conspirators haven't been charged yet, and all of this is like for like the lead up to January 6th and the fact that he ignored it, but it has absolutely still nothing to do with the sort of Bannon and Alex Jones and Oren Schroyer and Roger Stone part of it. None of that yet has been charged or even indicted. So I'm sure that there's a whole other section of stuff related to January 6th. And, all that stuff regarded to, because we haven't talked about it in about like 2 years, but everything with regard to his inauguration committee where people were making tons of donations of money, probably in exchange for certain things. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, there's a person, I think it was Jared Kushner's father, when we're talking about the donations, right? Marie Kushner donated $100,000 to Chris Christie, because Mary Kushner helped Chris Christie put Charles Kushner in jail. Well, Charles Kushner, who got a pardon from Trump, apparently donated $1 million to his reelection campaign. So I guess that's what a pardon goes for. Huh? So yes, maximum 55 years if he's gets the book thrown at him totally for everything. Now, still at this moment, it would be a first offense, so there'd probably be some mitigating things. But if some of those other court cases go through and get tried and he gets a verdict before, then it wouldn't be his first case. And then all of a sudden, well, recidivism premiums will apply to that sentence. So now, of course, he's already been found guilty in an E. Jean Carroll case, but that was civil, and he's back in court with her again. And it seems that Tish James, who's in New York, because there's also that tax thing that's going on there that we kind of forgot because it was in the background there. She said she's ready to go. And she said, like, she's all finished. Like, she can go now. It's like, judges, if you can fit this in now before they do all the pretrial motions on the other 75,000 things he's accused of and charged and indicted with, we can do this now. So she's ready to go. So we'll see what happens there. So far, Mango Madness is facing a total of 78 charges. And of course, because we love to have fun here at the True North Eager Beaver, we're starting a pool. When does he hit 100? Will he hit 100? Will he cross 100?
Will he hit 100?
So, kids, if you got a date in mind when you think enough arraignments or enough indictments will come down that he'll cross the 100 or superseding indictments, that he hits 100, pick a date. Who knows? Might find a way to get some prizes. Oh man, you know what? You had it coming, and I know you love an extra scoop of ice cream with your beautiful chocolate cake. So much so that, when you're having a dinner party, everybody gets one scoop, but you get two when you're sitting at the table, so that everybody knows that you got two. Well, now you're getting 2 scoops with that special pie for Miss Hilly.
We make a special pie for you.
Where you going? That's none of your business. You don't mind that. I got some business to take care of. As she's about to get on that bus. You don't mind that. You just mind your own business. I'm doing my own thing right now. I'm gonna go deliver a pie. A special pie. I love that scene in that movie. Especially when she goes back for a second slice because she loves it so much. 2 slice hilly.
Oh, dude. Sorry. I mean, I love this, the aspect of it, but it's like,
I have never trusted a Jello chocolate pudding pie since.
mhm.
In other news, the negotiating team for the Writers Guild of America and the Alliance of Motion Picture Game Television Producers are finally going to meet face to face for the first time since the strike began on May 1st. So they are going to, workers are wondering how serious the companies are. However, as yesterday, Warner Brothers Discovery bragged that the strike had saved it $100 million. Now, of course, right now there's still some produced stuff in the pipeline that can air and go to movie screens. But once that pipeline is empty, will you still be saving 100? No, like how much are you paying down the line to save that 100 million, Warner Brothers? Nice little flex on the day, but
Did you see the number of actors that were donating $1 million each to the SAG strike fund?
mhm.
And I saw something online, and I don't know if it's true, but if somebody says, The Rock just walked in and said, "Jabronis, put up $1 million each, or I'll kick your ass."
There you go. Hey,
Could be the case.
if this really does drag on, at some point, some of these Hollywood actors who have millions of dollars in the bank are going to just pull their funds together and start making these little independent films that get made for 1 or 2 million, and they don't need the studios to release them, and movie theater owners need something on those screens. And if the movie companies aren't producing them, there's
Well,
only so many animated movies that you can do with AI doing
yes.
voices for you before people want something else. Just
Well,
saying.
you do recognize that United Artists was formed by a group of actors at the time because the studio wasn't paying them properly. They weren't getting properly compensated. So they formed their new studio, United Artists. And that's where it came from. That was Mary Pickford who started that.
Yep,
Canadian lady.
Mary Pickford, Oscar winner. I think she was called America's
First Sweetheart. Yeah,
at the time. Yeah,
Canadian. Yeah, she
Yep.
was Canadian.
she's in one of my favorite movies of all time. I think she's in. No, sorry, it's Norma Shearer. Norma Shearer, the other Canadian who was famous back then. The Women, but Mary Pickford. I haven't seen a Mary Pickford movie actually.
Well, she was mostly silent films at the time, so
Yes.
that might be why.
Yes. So that's going on with the writer's strike. Of course, if you're living in Toronto, I think the employees of Metro Groceries from about 27 stores are still on strike. If I know that they were on strike still about 2 days ago, and I haven't heard that it's ended. So that is going on. And in the BC port strike, members of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union started voting yesterday on the deal. Voting will continue today. Hopefully, we'll get some results later today or early tomorrow, and hopefully that will be the end of the strike, and that people will be happy with the deal. But they've walked away 2-3 times so far, so we'll see what happens there. But hopefully there will be some resolution, and then we can
Move on.
start dealing with compensating nurses or whoever's going to be next, because it is the summer of the year of the strike.
What was the headline I saw yesterday, or the tweet I saw yesterday? And I subtweeted it or retweeted it and directed it towards my MPP, Joel Harden, because I'm Centertown MPP. It was Doug Ford underspent by $7.2 billion on healthcare last year.
And he was begging.
Sitting on.
He was begging for the money.
begging for the money, underspent $7.2 billion, because all that is public knowledge. It all gets released to the public, all budgetary, all that. So it's like, Doug, you're sitting on $22 billion. You underspent by 7.2. You seem to have misplaced $2.2 billion. How the hell is this guy not in prison, or at least been charged? I'm serious. How much money is he going to sit on, or lose, or misplace, or just give away to a for-profit industry before somebody says, all right, enough of this. Like, come on. This is getting to be ridiculous. They're so corrupt and they've been emboldened because nobody's calling them out on it. So now they're just doing it right in our face, which I actually welcome. I welcome it, because here's the best part, right? Thanks for giving us all the evidence we need when we bring you to trial, because you're just bragging about it now.
Yeah.
So continue to brag.
You know what? I think, like you, it's the same thing. It's the fact that they are doing it. It's not only the fact that they're doing it right in our faces. That's infuriating enough, but they're rubbing our noses in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like we are dogs who just piddled on the carpet.
Yeah.
They're literally rubbing our noses in it, and they're gleeful while they're doing it.
That's the ticket right there. They're gleeful about it. I was like, oh, yeah, thank you. Continue to do so. Please continue to do so.
Have your fun now. Have your fun now. Because we're watching and documenting everything, but have your fun now.
I think there's a truth to what you're saying with that, Dan. I'm no financial expert, but I believe they're doing it so they can use that money to pay off debts and keep their credit rating. Yeah, that's fine, and I think you're right about that. But he could overspend in healthcare by $7.2 billion, still sit in the same amount. Plus we might get some decent healthcare out of it. And look, here's what he's going to do. He's going to use that $7.2 billion. We're building new hospitals, private for-profit hospitals. That's the part he won't say out loud.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of that, you might be onto something, Dan, because just a couple of days ago, the debt rating agency Fitch downgraded the U.S. credit rating from AAA to AA+, citing deterioration in governance over the past 20 years and expectations of a worsening economy over the next 3. The White House says that the move makes no sense at all and doesn't take into account current resilience of the economy. But yeah, so, for example, if you've been investing and you've been seeing the stock market, 300-point drop, then 100-point gain, then 100-point drop, that's all of the results, that all that sort of instability or big movement happened pretty much as soon as Fitch made a news of the downgrade public. So you might be onto something there, Dan. There might be taking that money and taking some and maybe making a debt payment or showing a better balance sheet or anything like that for the credit agencies. You said you don't know much about economics, but you may have nailed it there.
I think so.
You may have nailed it there. Since we were talking about municipal politics for a bit, I think 2 days ago, as of 11 a.m., drinking is legalized in 27 select parks in Toronto until October 9th as a pilot project. Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver already have similar laws. Montreal has something similar called a picnic law, where you can do it so long as there's food as well present. Tim Nemi, who's the director of the Canadian Institute for Substance Use Research at the University of Victoria, says, I think it's important to remember that a lot of people, even who drink, look forward to enjoying alcohol-free space, and that there are also a lot of people maybe in recovery who have had traumatic experiences related to alcohol. So that was his reason for maybe not having this. Dan Malik, who's a health science professor at Brock University, says that when people are concerned about things like drinking and driving and increasing other sorts of misbehaviors, he reminds us that stuff like being drunk in public and drinking and driving already are legal, and there are already penalties for that. So given that we have laws to manage that, we can have a little more liberal attitude towards drinking, and it won't lead to a huge uptick in law breaking. So
I have a further take on that too.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody made a comment the other day. That's terrible. They shouldn't be doing that in public. Think of the children. What about? And I'm like, dude, they can smoke as much reefer in public as they want in that same park. I'm allergic to it. if I'm anywhere near somebody who is smoking a joint and I get a big puff of smoke in my face, I will have an allergic reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called secondhand smoke, and they're allowed to do it in a public space. So I don't complain because I've chosen to be in that public space because I'm an adult and I made that choice. Thing is, if I'm sitting there having a can of beer in that public space, you're not getting any of that secondhand. That beer is affecting me and me only. It will
Mm-hmm.
not affect anybody else because I'm not going to be driving anything, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get staggering drunk and walk home from a park because why would I do that?
Yep.
Now, that being said, they will go, but some people already do that. Yeah. So why don't we make it a little bit easier so that they don't get arrested each time? Do you see what I'm getting at here?
Mm-hmm.
There are people who already have an alcohol problem, right?
Yep.
And okay, why are we making their lives difficult because of the problem that they have? We're not getting them the treatment that they need. Alcohol is an addiction, just like any other drug for a lot of people.
And if you wean off it very quickly, it could cause problems, which is why
Yes.
alcohol stores were deemed an essential service during the pandemic.
You would have people dying. And here's the other thing, too. Everybody seems to think, oh, it's only just, some ratty homeless people. No,
Mm.
there are homeless people that do have alcohol problems. But I know more white-collar people that have severe alcohol problems. They're like, well, they make it to work every day on time. Yeah, so what?
Functioning alcoholics.
It's called functioning. High-functioning
Dated
alcoholics.
one.
Yeah. And I know some of them always have a flask of whiskey on them.
Yep. Well,
And we'll
that
take a
was the
few
thing.
nips throughout the day just to keep it, just to maintain it, right?
Hardest working person I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes early for everything.
Yep.
Would always stay late if needed. But in that bottom drawer.
Mm-hmm. There was a guy I worked with years ago who, and this is no word of a lie, he was the first guy on the job site. Like he would be at work, ready to go at 7 a.m., and he would work his butt off until 3. And at 3:30, he was at the pub. And he drank 18 to 24 bottles of Labatt Blue every night.
Mm-hmm.
7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I know this because I've seen him do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent one afternoon on my birthday. We finished work at 3 on a Friday. And we went down to the Heart and Crown. We sat on the patio, July 5th, my birthday, and had a couple of drinks. I had like 4 or 5 pints, and I'm drinking 20-ounce pints of whatever it was at the time. It wasn't Guinness because it was July 5th is usually a super hot day. And I watched him drink 20 bottles of Labatt Blue. And I'm not kidding. And I was like, holy crap. And he does that every day. Now, did that every day. 8 years ago, he just said, that's it, and quit. Cold turkey, which could have killed him. It could have killed him, but it didn't. He said he had a few rough weeks, and I bump into him every now and then. And his wife passed away recently, and he's got some health issues, but he hasn't had a drink in 8 years. Nothing. Now he said he's trying to quit smoking now too. So, because after his wife died, he was a little aimless for a bit, and I thought, he's going to go back on the sauce. No, he didn't. He stayed sober and he committed to it. And well, he was one of these guys, like you say, the hardest working people who often have severe alcohol addiction, severe alcohol problems. When they decide, if they make a decision to quit, they never go back.
Mm.
They apply their same ethics that they have for going to work and busting their butt every day to not drinking.
Yep.
And I've seen that I'm sure you have too, with a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And as we stated earlier, a lot of white collar people, especially in this city, because they work, if you work in the federal public service, if you are a member of parliament or work, in the office of a member of parliament, not necessarily directing it towards an MP. Okay. I want people to understand that. But if you work in the office, the crazy hours they all put in.
Mm-hmm.
And they oftentimes have a few drinks. And some MPs know that their staff is having a few drinks and they don't drink, but they don't crap on them for it. It's how they cope because they work 80 hours a week. So, and who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Everybody knows I like a pint. I like a whiskey. I like a wine. I do. I
Mhm.
can also go weeks and months without drinking any of it, but I don't have an addictive personality. So I'm very fortunate in that respect. Not everybody is that fortunate. I am fortunate. It's, when my doctor said, okay, you're going to start on this new medication, you can't have anything to drink for 6 weeks. I go, how about 8? He goes, what? I go, how about 8? He goes, you can just do that? And I go, yeah, it's simple. You told me not to. I won't do it.
Mhm.
I'm pretty good at following military kid, right? Follow orders. It's not difficult. Don't do
Yep.
this. It's bad for you. Okay.
Yep. 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 Yesterday on the show, you talked about briefly, because we had to close up, the fact that Facebook and Meta
Mm-hmm.
are now pretty much uh, going full tilt on their threat to throttle Canadians from getting news via their sites. Oh,
I don't
we got
care.
that. Oh, pardon the interruption, but Mateo just walked in and saw your hat, Douglas, and absolutely loves it. He's sitting beside me and is all giddy, waiting for me to type this. Hi, Mateo.
Hey, little buddy,
Good
what's up?
morning, man. How you doing? Yeah, it's my special hat. I'm very, very happy today because somebody who deserved a very, 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 very big Christmas present got it. He got it a little late because it's August, it's not Christmas, but he should have gotten it at Christmas. And yeah, so we're just celebrating because somebody got the perfect Christmas present that they deserved. So you should be happy too. Trust me, it's going to be good for you. I hope that you have a wonderful day full of play and being good to your mom and dad, right? And your sisters,
That's right.
right? Have fun, my man.
All right, Mateo, you have yourself a wonderful day, my little buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, we have all the kits saying hello to Mateo as well. Yay, Mateo, and Mateo with little hearts, and there's Kit Mohan laughing.
So
We love
this,
us some Mateo here at the Beaver Lodge.
so this comment, sign it and auction it for a donation to Toy Mountain. Here's the thing, Dan and Mr. Beaver. My friend runs Toy Mountain. Yeah, good buddy of mine. So let's partner
We
up with them around Christmas time next year. I will
Yes.
reach out to him later today and say, listen, we're this is what we'd like to do. I think my main charity is Cornerstone Housing for Women, which will continue to be. And I've the president or CEO reached out to me, sent me an email recently to say thanks for the efforts in the shave, the Great Shave charity fundraiser. And I said, yeah, don't worry, there's more money coming. I've heard from a few people who have committed to donate. They just have to work out their schedules and budgets. And I'm like, he's like, well, thanks. So that's my main charity because they do a lot of very important work in the community that I live in. And again, where does democracy is something you do it starts in your community from the ground level, right? So that's in the ground level. But Toy Mountain, which is a larger charitable function that helps out kids all around Ottawa, and I think they have it in Toronto too. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But my buddy runs it here in town. A really good friend of mine. We've been friends for 30 years, I think. So I'll reach out to him and say, listen, we're gonna we'd like to partner up with you to try and help you out this year, just to really promote it as much as we can. So I don't know
Ah,
what else we can do beyond that, but I'll figure out something. I'll
yep.
figure something out.
And again, as a foster kid, I've benefited from Toy Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I received toys from Toy Mountain. So yes, I totally, totally support. Yep, that's good. We should definitely do that. Miss Sadeka says, Mateo heard Christmas gifts and now he wants some. Apparently Mateo is a pirate today. Arr, avast mateys, land ho.
Yar, yar, matey.
Yes. Yes, you have a better
Arr, Billy,
you
bend
have a
over
better
and
pirate
take.
voice than I do.
Remember Captain Hindgrinder. Arr, Billy, bend over and take a look at the wheels on the side of the boat. But Captain Hindgrinder, there are no wheels on the side of the boat. Sorry, that was a joke from when I was much, much younger.
Oh
Much
man,
younger.
that's why I was making the joke the other day when we said that there was lots of movies about products like BlackBerry and Lego, as I couldn't wait for the Highliner movie. I always wondered what happened to Billy.
Yar, Billy.
All right. So yes, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, wherever those people are, have been throttling news to about 5% of Canadians for weeks now as a pilot project. I don't know why they had to pilot project
I
that, but
don't
anyway.
care.
And which caused the federal government and many others to withdraw their advertising from Instagram and Meta,
Hmm.
which happened a few weeks ago.
Well,
And
Meta is Facebook and Instagram.
it's Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Meta,
parent company.
Instagram, and Threads.
Yeah, yes.
Now, conservatives have been losing their minds. So
Yeah.
we have PP going, it's like 1984. Whether it's big tech or Trudeau's big government, censorship is always and everywhere wrong, said the guy who stands for book burnings, making drag story time illegal, and who won't let his MPs even attend the WEF. But censorship. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And now, yeah, exactly. It's getting more surreal. They're making news and disappear, and it seems that the backbench MP they've got assigned to this is the human dipstick known as Rachel Thomas.
Oh,
Okay, people. Let's make it really clear. News has not disappeared. If news has disappeared, we would not be able to do this show because we would not have anything to curate to create content to make this show. News has not disappeared. News is always where it has always been, on the news
on
sites.
the news.
So what's going on right here? I mean, again, I keep on saying you've got two factions. You've got a faction that doesn't want any regulation on the internet whatsoever, anyway, any kind. So they're saying that this is censorship and it's the beginning of the end. And then you've got the people, like the Facebooks and whatnot, who don't want to pay. And you've got the conservatives who have never met a media other than one that's owned by Americans, or that's independent media that doesn't follow journalistic practices. Other than them, they have not found a media that they don't like. And all of a sudden, they're the ones who are crying, oh my God, Canadians can't get access to the news. The news has disappeared. It's like as if conservatives would care if the news disappeared. They want you to be as little informed as possible. What they are pissed off about, though, kits and cubbies, is, as Mr. Grizzly keeps on mentioning often, please say your standard line about Chatham Asset Management Group, Mr. Grizzly.
You mean the Christo-fascist GOP-enabled Chatham Asset Management Group, from the United States of America, right-wing Christian evangelical Christo-fascist GOP supporting hedge fund that owns 66.6% of Canadian, Post Media, which is the
Pretty much
largest
every.
newspaper chain in the country.
It's Post Media, it's the Sun, it's all the traditional Post Media, but Post Media acquired the Sun a few years ago as well.
Plus the Gazette, the Ottawa Citizen, the Vancouver Sun, the Vancouver, all of them,
all the big ones, right? So,
and what's the other thing though? What is part of their basic business model? When they scream about CBC is state-run media, and yet this American-owned hedge fund that owns 66.6% of Post Media, part of their business model is relying upon those same funds that the federal government gives them. They've publicly stated this.
So what the Conservatives are really upset is that all the media outlets that are not True North or not RuPaul's or Countersignal or all of those, when you are going on Facebook or Instagram to trade recipes, share photos of your grandchildren, look at kitty cats, right? Well, you're not having all the CPC approved propaganda that appears in all the Post Media and Sun chains being shoved down your throat.
They really do like to say "shove down your throat" a lot, don't they?
They do. Well, that's why I keep on using it. So you're just there looking for a chocolate chip cookie recipe, and all of a sudden you see these articles from Lilly and Goldstein and Kinsella and the usual suspects. Now you don't see those. Now you get actually focus on the recipes and sharing the pictures of cute kitties and your grandchildren without having that in your way, which means that the Conservative Party of Canada has to work that much harder to get all that free publicity before your eyeballs.
James's
Of course.
comments. I'm not going to put it on the
I
stream.
know.
But
I know. I'm not going to read that out
no.
loud.
It's funny. It's funny though.
I can't make that same promise is all I will say. But actually I could probably make that promise. Yeah, that's not particularly my thing, to be honest. But so you got PP going, who would have ever imagined that in Canada, the federal government would pass laws banning people from effectively seeing the news? Who would have thought that we've had a government that would pass a law to manipulate the algorithms of the internet? Okay, let's unpack this bullshit. Number one, the federal government did not pass a law banning people from effectively seeing the news. They passed a law asking social media companies to compensate people who actually make the news for the news that is on their site, that generates traffic on their site, that keeps people on their site and visiting whatnot, for which they get paid. Now, it is the corporations who decided that they are no longer going to be featuring the news on their platforms, not the federal government who passed a law banning people from seeing the news on those pages. They said, it has value, pay for it. They decided, no, we don't want to, so we're not going to carry this product anymore. Just like if you go to your favorite store and there's a favorite cookie mix that you like, and all of a sudden it got discontinued because it wasn't selling enough, as I have been experiencing again, because apparently all the grocery chains a couple of years ago came up with gluten-free lines of bread and cookies and cakes and stuff like that, and they all disappeared from all the chains at exactly the same time, because apparently there's not enough of us. So now I have to learn how to bake again.
Well,
but
this
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say this whole thing about it. They're stripping news from the internet. No, Skippy, they're not. It's just Facebook and Instagram, and Google needs to pay for it from the sources that they get it from. And it just, the way he goes on, it reminds me of this.
You're the fucking dumbass who gave your comic away. Now you don't get no fucking movie check neither.
Well, when you're right, you're right. Wish I held onto a little piece of that thing, because if the buzz is any indicator, that movie's gonna make some huge bank.
What buzz?
The internet buzz.
What the fuck is the internet?
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
That was only 20. Whoops, sorry. That was a mistake. That was only 24 seconds, so we shouldn't get any copyright violations. Should be okay.
Oh my word!
But it's like let's get back to sharing stuff and stop relying upon these major U.S. corporations that have been basically getting their content for free. Oh, wait a minute! All their content they've been getting for free. 100% of
just did there. There's a little sign language going on there when you put your hand on your face. I noticed like which digit was up. I'm paying attention. Kit Elaine goes, at least you have wheat-free recipes, yes. And I'm not sure if it was Kit Elaine or Kit Ellen, but yes, I got the gluten-free sugar cookie recipe. Thank you very much. So first of all, right, the store has decided it's not carrying the product anymore. Meta made the decision to no longer carry news. The federal government did not pass a law banning people from seeing the news.
Oh, no.
That's an outright lie.
Once again, not just mis and disinformation, but complete, total, and utter bald-faced lie.
Here's something happening that you're going to notice, and we're going to pre-frame this by telling you what it is and whose fault it is, and none of it's going to be true. The second part,
and so many people will swallow that hook, line, and sinker.
And then the second part of that statement is, who would have thought that we had a government that would pass a law to manipulate the algorithms of the internet? No, Poodle. The algorithms are the manipulation. If these companies would just put the news that came on in the order that it was posted, and just let that be, instead of saying, hey, you watch this a lot, let's feed you more of this, or hey, we see that you're watching a lot of this and we'd rather you watch this instead, like Elon is doing with his For You section, putting all these people that I would never share a room with like this, saying, hey,
Yeah.
we've looked at everything that you've posted through the like 12 years you've been on Twitter, and we've decided that this is for you. It's like, have you freaking met me?
Yeah.
Because-
Well, this
but
current
that's the point, right? It's putting that content right in your face, shoving it down your throat, making sure your
Mhm.
eyeballs see it, and maybe some title, something will get you to click on it, and then you will go down that rabbit hole. Because that is the object. It's
Yeah,
literally the pusher on the corner
it's
giving you your first
manipulation.
taste for free.
Yeah. Well, and the whole thing that, and we've talked about this in the past, the whole thing about this, you need to reimburse the sources where you get your news. Goes back to the argument that local television stations presented to the CRTC. I'm not sure how many years ago it was now, when they said, okay, cable and satellite companies need to start paying for our signal. We agreed in the mid 1960s, when cables became a thing, that we would let them take our signal for free, redistribute it, because they had to pay a lot of money to get their system and network up and running. They've been getting it free for 40 years now. It's time to pay up. We will no longer allow them to have our signal for free.
Mhm.
They need to pay us, because they're getting free content and then reselling it.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's 100% margin. That's a pretty good racket they've got going. Like, to get a basic package. So on my service provider, who I'm not going to name because they're not paying us. My service provider, my internet service provider, has a television package, and I pay $20 a month for it. And I'm trying to cancel it. I can't cancel it online. I have to phone them to do it.
Where
Anyway,
they're gonna tell you that they're very happy you called and you're a very valued customer,
mm,
and please stay
well,
on the
actually,
line until your firstborn is delivered.
and it's not a major carrier, by the way. It's a small company, and they've been very good to me. They honestly have, and this is my only issue I have with them. It's like, I want to cancel this service, I can't do it online. I have to call them. That's my only issue, because when rates changed and their costs went down, they actually sent me a rebate
Mm.
and lowered my bill. So, good company. But this is the one area I have with it. I want to cancel it because I don't use it anymore.
Mhm.
And the only reason I got it was so I could watch a couple of local news feeds, and I'm like, but you know what? I have rabbit ears. I can get all the local news feeds over the air for free.
Yep.
And I got this 20, I think it's like 35 channels. And it's ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, Fox, Radio
Mhm.
Canada, and a few different Quebecois stations, along with CBC and about 25 different CTV affiliate feeds, where 8 of them are playing the same thing at the same time.
Mhm.
Come on, man, that's not choice. It's the same shit.
Yeah.
So I just want to get rid of it, because it's a waste of money as far as I'm concerned.
So, and the CPC complaint about the algorithm, as we've been learning through the Cambridge Analytica stuff and all that kind of stuff, the algorithm is biased towards showing us conservative content and content that
Mhm.
fuels negative emotions, or that solicits big emotional reaction. So,
And this comment from Jillian, I've actually done that to get rid of a few different online subscriptions I had to different newspapers, because I couldn't cancel online. I had to call them. In this case, I can't do that because it's my internet service provider. So if I do that with them, I lose connection that we're relying upon to do this show.
yeah.
So, but I hear you, because that's how I got rid of I signed up for Globe and Mail and Torstar a few years back, and it was like 99 cents a month or something. What I didn't see in the ultra fine print was that after 3 months, it goes to $29 a month. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're not delivering a physical product to me. If you were delivering the paper to me on Saturday, okay, no problem. But that's not the case.
Mhm.
So I want to cancel. Oh, you can't cancel online. You have to call us. No, I'll just change my payment method to a prepaid credit card, and I won't put money on it. And they'll keep trying to build. If you don't, we'll cancel you. And they did.
Hmm.
They canceled me. Good. because that's what I wanted.
Yep.
It's the workaround.
Yep.
But in this case, I can't do it.
Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, basically, conservatives are complaining that they now need to work harder to get their propaganda in front of your eyes,
That's
and
what it
they
is.
are complaining about changing algorithms because right now the algorithm really favors them.
Yeah.
They don't want the last thing conservatives would want is an internet like a sort of Facebook or Twitter that actually shows you the things in the order that they were posted without any sorting of any kind. That does not help them. They like the algorithm the way it is. Okay. So, and we all know that the algorithm the way it is not good. Why do the conservatives want the algorithm to stay the same? Again, whenever you hear these interventions, the two questions, the two BS detector questions is, what's the motive? Who benefits? What's the motive for the complaint? Why are the conservatives on the side of big business? Why are the conservatives not on the side of local news? Why are the conservatives not on the side of funding news? Why are the conservatives not on the side of changing an algorithm that we all know is disruptive and destructive? Why do conservatives who don't care about the news suddenly care about you getting the news? It's because it's their platform. It's because it's their platform that's being affected. All the work that they put into getting the things as it is right now, because that may get upended, and that's why they are upset.
I just sent you a DM on the Twitter, sir. Have a look at it when you can.
Pardon?
Whether or not you want to get into it is up to you. I sent you a DM on to True North. If you want to have a look at it.
Okay, I will.
There's a bit of a thread. Whether or not you want to deal with it on the show is up to you. I just thought I'd send it to you so you could read it, because it's just like, what the hell is? It's a very strange little thread that I don't fully understand. So I'm like, okay.
Oh no,
sure.
no, none of that.
No.
None of that. No.
Yeah.
Any stories like speculation about what the separation, when it started, what the real reason, whatnot, you don't know.
Well, if you go all the way through the thread, you see down at the end, you got to go through his thread. He's saying it isn't real. He's saying the separation isn't real.
No. At worst, no, but here's the thing. We talked about it yesterday. At worst, it's a separation agreement that could be in place up until the next election. And let's say he doesn't win. Maybe he goes back to his regular scheduled family. Maybe they agree to work it out. Maybe if he wins again, then maybe that's it. Who knows? And again, it could just be a separation agreement because things have just gotten so heated and hot when the prime minister goes out in public that said, you know what, for the next election campaign, whenever it is, we really want to be out of it. So we're just going to, it's a separation thing. We're signing it. We're doing it. That way people might leave the kids and whatnot alone for the next election. Then after that, we'll see. Win or lose. So there is something. Statistically, I can see that being possible in that sense, but that doesn't mean that the story is fake. There is a separation agreement. She is living somewhere else. They put this all in the media. What kind of parents would put a story about them separating in the media for their 3 kids if it was fake?
Well, and the other thing that I was trying to be as gentle as I could with this gentleman. He wasn't being rude with me, but he's like, it's not real. It's not real. I get all the press releases from the office. I'm like, you know what? His office has not officially released anything. That is true. But it's been the number one story globally for the last couple of days, and there's been no public denial. Nothing. No comment. Zero.
Yep. Now
if it wasn't true, wouldn't you want to come out and say, no, this isn't the case? Right?
So the thing is that my thing is you can only know what you show, what you can show. None of us know. Not like somebody went and gave an Oprah interview and opened up their heart and said everything that was going on. We don't know. Nobody knows. The media doesn't know. none of the other politicians know, or if they do, they haven't said, but there is absolutely nothing that exists in the public domain to let us know one way or another the reason why, what motivated, nothing.
We don't know.
So all of y'all
And
are just
as
talking
Mohan
out of your
says,
asses. And again, Xavier, 15, Ella Grace, 14, Hadrian, 9. They can read.
mm-hmm.
Stop it. Stop it. You having an opinion on what may have caused the separation, is it real, is it not, like that, adds absolutely nothing of benefit or value to your life or anyone else's. It does not pay your rent. It does not buy food. It does not stop your children or you from taking ill. It is a worthless use of your time.
And
Stop
mental
it.
capacity. Just stop.
Just stop. Not worth it. You don't know. All you're doing is you're confirming to everyone who's watching you, again, that you basically speak out of your ass and don't know what you're talking about. And you do it with certainty. Just, yeah, come on. Yeah, Kid James, I was trying to remember when I felt so bad for the kids of a public figure. It was Rob Ford. Imagine having to read the news when that was happening.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Just, we tend to look at people that are public figures like they're out there and they're untouchable somewhere, or anything that we have to say about them will not reach them and can't hurt them and can't. It's like, and then we hear all these stories about like politicians after like one term or whatnot. The Catherine McKenna's like, you know what? Sorry, that was one climate Barbie too many.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? She said, I can do more in the private sector than I can in the public. And according to the recent track record I've looked at, she's been absolutely bang on about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. A couple of other things that we have for you, kids and cubs. The National Bank Open will be starting this weekend. I'm a big fan of it. Unfortunately, we did not get the accreditation, so I will not be able to get to cover it live. I'm kind of sad. This year for the men, however, it's going to be a little less of a star cast, as Denis Shapovalov, Canadian, is out with a knee injury. Felix Auger-Aliassime will probably play, but he still seems to be recovering from an injury because he lost in the first round in Washington as well. And he's the number 12th ranked player in the world, but he's been losing a lot the last 3 or 4 months. So there's an injury there too. Novak Djokovic, or Novak's Djokovic, said he's not coming because of fatigue. Nick Kyrgios, the bad boy of tennis that everybody loves to watch because he's so entertaining, he's not coming. Neither is Pablo Carreño Busta. So some big stars will be out. But the depth is so... The depth is so deep. I don't have another word. The depth is so immense. I hate it when I start like with a word like that, like depth. The depth is so deep that The Shining was so shiny that
Challenger trench deep.
Gee, give me a thesaurus. But yes, there's good depth, so there will be lots of entertaining stuff there. There's no need to worry about that. Let's see, what else did we?
I have 2 quick hits for you.
Okay, sure.
This is, you know that we had a pretty heavy-duty storm and tornadoes yesterday, right?
Right.
Equinel, which is a community near Kempville, which is south of Ottawa, photo of a home that was struck by lightning yesterday before 5 a.m. It's on the screen. It looks like the lightning bolt hit the upper story of the house, and it is burnt badly.
Wow.
Yeah, that's rough. So that's the first thing I had for you, and then the second thing, I think you're going to like this. This is good. This is. It's like, here's the thing. It's like, I know what you're trying to say, but you've gone about it in the wrong way. I'm just going to put this on the screen for a second. And it's a sign. I guess it's posted against a tree or something. It says, if you don't teach your child to obey Jesus, the devil will teach them evolution, sexuality, psychology, and witchcraft.
What?
And the comment on that was, wow. I had no idea Satan was so knowledgeable and generous with his time. Sorry.
Hail Satan.
I didn't know Satan taught psychology, evolution, and sexuality, let alone witchcraft. Like,
Holy crap. That was my whole university program.
was it witchcraft?
No, but the University of Ottawa apparently has a 101 course that's the occult, witchcraft, and something else. And apparently it's the most popular course on the entire campus. Even more popular than Philosophy 101, which you have to take. It's like, yee, boy. Let's see what else. Oh, other good news. The Canadian 4x100 men's relay team who competed at the Tokyo Olympics, yes, finally got their silver medal. So Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, Brendan Rodney, and Andre DeGrasse have their upgraded medals. Hopefully we can put a picture of these fine gentlemen up here for them. Yes, there we go. There was a British team member who was eliminated from their race due to a doping violation, which means that the Canadians who had originally finished in the bronze position got upgraded to the silver. I'm happy this happens, but the other part that I'm not happy about is that if you won silver and you're at the Olympics, it's even worse for people like who won gold or people finished fourth and then turns out they really won third. Because on the day of the event or the day after, when you get your medal and everybody's there and everybody's applauding and all the cameras are on you, you don't get that moment.
No.
So if you were second and you won gold, yeah, sure, they'll have a little ceremony and they'll put a couple of people there and they'll play the national anthem and whatnot. But the anthem's not being played in front of a stadium full of 60,000 people.
No, so you are kind of robbed of that.
And your
moment.
peers, right?
I mean, it's not done. There's no malicious intent there, but it's kind of like a bummer you don't get that.
Yeah,
that moment.
Well, yeah, because they have to. They have to.
I mean, they still got their podium moment though. They still did get a podium moment.
Yes.
Right. So it wasn't like they were fourth place and then all of a sudden everybody else got canceled and they got gold. They did get a podium moment, but they did get robbed of that one echelon higher, right?
Right. And it's not so bad with third to second. There's no national anthem and there's no, but it's still, it's worse when it's second to first or fourth to third, because then fourth to third, but you miss it. But speaking of Brendan Rodney, who was on that team,
okay.
Recently the Canadian National Track and Field Championships took place, and Brendan Rodney had an amazing meet. He ran and qualified for the next Olympics by meeting Olympic standards in the 100 meters by setting a personal best. He got 2 podium finishes and met world championship standards in the 200 meters as well, just from the Canadian Championships. This article here from Running Magazine. There were many stories that came out of the 2023 Canadian Track and Field Championships, but none compared to that of Toronto's Brendan Rodney. The 31-year-old sprinter came away from nationals with a personal best, 2 podium finishes, and 2 world championship standards in the 100 and 200 meters. On Friday night in the men's 100-meter semifinal, Rodney shocked himself with a 10 flat clocking, smashing his personal best by nearly 0.2 of a second from nationals in 2017, 6 years ago. 6 years of training to beat your personal best by 0.2 of a second.
That's a lot of hard work.
His time also equals the 2023 World Championship standard for the men's 100, earning him a position on Team Canada in Budapest. How's about that? Hours later, Rodney followed up his personal best performance with the second fastest time in his career, 10.12 seconds, to win silver behind Aaron Brown, who claimed his fifth consecutive Canadian 100 meters title in 10.8 seconds. And one of the reasons Aaron Brown won it is because Andre DeGrasse managed to get disqualified in the 100 for some reason at the Canadian National World Championships, but came back and won the 200-meter World Championship in 2015. 200-meter title in 20.15 seconds, which is his fastest time of the season, which is really good because... Oh, no, sorry, that was Rodney who did that. Sorry, not... not DeGrasse. DeGrasse didn't qualify for the 100-meter final, but yes, in the 200 he did win it, and he's been having some trouble with his confidence lately. And in sprinting, confidence is almost everything. When you watch that last heat go, and they've all got that cockiness and that swag, going on as they're on the blocks. They got their number there and they're doing this, and and all that kind of stuff. Well, when you start losing or finishing fourth or not making finals every now and then that kind of affects you. You get a little slower jump off the start, and that kind of stuff. You get a little more tense in your body rather than staying loose, and that slows you down. But yeah, he is really, really. But he's starting to come back, so I think he'll be okay in time for Paris. But he's been having a rougher season this year. Rodney expressed gratitude for the quality and depth of Canadian sprinting. Quote, Andre, Aaron, and I have been doing this for 8 and 9 years now. We love competing on home soil and are motivated by each other, wanting the best for one another. So, yeah, way to go, sir. Qualifying, meeting Olympic standards, World Championship standards. This seems to be your year. And of course, now an Olympic silver medalist as well. So that's always very, very good news. I love it when our Canadian athletes are doing us proud and get good results for us. Another good result: Brooke Henderson, golfer extraordinaire, finished second at the Evian Championships in France with an overall 8 under score, 6 strokes behind the winner. 6 strokes. Céline Boutier. So Céline Boutier was on fire during that tournament. I mean, hey, first of all, to beat Brooke Henderson when she's having a good tournament, you have to be good. Yeah. I guess, and she was second best by 6 strokes. That's a huge lead in golf.
That is a massive lead. Yeah.
So good there. Canadians are still. Sorry, I gotta sneeze.
Okay, you go ahead and do that. I'm going to put a graphic on the screen here in the meantime. This is Theo Moudakis' latest political cartoon. Doug Ford taking down the Ford Fest sign while he whistles away in the second panel. In the third panel, as he walks away with the Ford Fest sign under his arm. And in the third panel, he's walking towards the post. And in the fourth panel, he puts up another sign. He says, now for the real party. Friends of Ford Fest. That's gonna piss off some people, and I'm here for it. Doesn't piss off as you're on mute, sir. Doesn't piss off nearly as many people as when he does a Pierre Polyev political cartoon. They really come out of the woodwork, but it tends to be bots that do it. So and Theo is unbothered by all of it.
I know. I love Theo. I love Theo so much. He's so badass. He really
him and Michael Diatter are like, no, this is my job. And both of them, by the way, equally skewer the prime minister on a frequent basis.
Oh yeah.
And every time they do, I'm like, can't argue with him. He's right.
Well, like always, like sometimes they don't always land, and that's for anyone, whether it's PR or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, they do, and for the most part, they're pretty good. And even the ones, even if you like the person that he's doing a send up of, every now and then it's like you're sitting there and you go, well, yeah, I guess he's right.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
That's the thing. He's not wrong. So
I don't want you skewering my guy, but that was pretty funny. That was good.
Well, like you said, it was the one of Sophie Gregoire Trudeau holding hands with Pete Davidson. It's like, wow, that guy moves fast.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. Because, and like I said, that one really was funny because it's really a joke about Pete Davidson.
Yeah, it's topical, right? It's about Pete Davidson. I mean, I can understand how some people may get upset by that one, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm not telling you how to feel or think. I'm not. And I have kind of dark sense of humor sometimes. So I did get a chuckle out of that one because I thought it was funny. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was funny.
Oh man, we have a couple of other Canadians to praise. The other day, when I was talking about the World Para Swimming Championships, I could not remember Aurélie Rivard's last name, which I should have been able to because she's basically a Canadian legend in para swimming. Apologies. And also, congratulations to Sabrina Duchesne, who picked up a bronze medal for us at the World Para Swimming Championships in the 400 meter freestyle S7 final. Again, I wish I knew what the categories meant, S7, but I don't in terms of para swimming. And there are a lot of categories, so it would be hard for someone that's not involved in the domain to know what all of them are off the top of your head. So I do apologize for that. But Canadians on the international scene doing us very, 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 very proud. We're always happy to report that and give out some praise. On that note, Canadian that we love, I don't think I'd be very surprised if anybody doesn't love her. Buffy St. Marie, who is now 82, has announced that due to health issues, she has some travel-induced health concerns, arthritic hands, and a bad shoulder. Well, those things together are making it such that she cannot perform to her standards. So she has announced that she will be retiring from live performance. She says it doesn't mean that she will never be performing ever again, but she's just hanging it up for a while. I'm hoping it is just for a while because, hey, Joni's back. She needs some company, Buffy. There's a tour I would go see.
Oh, yes.
Joni and Buffy.
Hell yeah. I've got a quote here I want to read to you because this is related to Doug Ford and his Greenbelt highway. This is from Max, I hope I pronounce his name correctly, Hansgen, Hansgen, president of the National Farmers Union of Ontario. He's talking about the Greenbelt land that he's coughing up for the highway and, you know, the communities that will be built beside it because all the developer friends of his own land right beside it. And he says, it is all class 1 and 2 farmland, which is the best, most fertile, most profitable farmland that we have in one of the most forgiving climates for farming in Canada. So yes, it is very special and critical to the food security of people here in Ontario. So the farmers are fighting back now. Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. That's what we need. Farmers, the Indigenous community, environmentalists, all of them. We need them.
Well, here's the thing that I'm gonna say, and this is where people will stand up and take notice. Okay, and this is kind of loaded when I say it. You'll understand in a moment. But when you think of farmers, usually you're not thinking of people who do not look like me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually farmers tend to look like me, tend to be old white men, tend to be. I mean, that's been the face for a long time. That's not the case. I mean, they're diverse farmers all over this country. But when a bunch of old white men stand up and say, hang on a second, that's when mainstream media takes notice. And that's when political people really take notice. I mean, they're still not doing a damn thing for the landfill in Manitoba that they said it'll cost too much money, but they spent millions of dollars to find one white guy. So, you know, when a bunch of old white men stand up to the government tends to pay attention. So this might be the tide is turning moment, or the tipping point, if you will, on the Greenbelt 413 highway and development that'll take place along the highway. They're going to get those homes built for people who need them. Doug, the only people who can afford those homes are upper middle class and wealthy, because you need a car. There's no transit. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Now, I'm being ridiculous when I say that, but it's far from any sort of public transit system. Who's going to buy those houses? Well, it's not going to be, as Dan said earlier, people on ODSP or Ontario Works.
Mm-hmm.
And those houses are being developed for profit. So it's not public housing. So Doug, once again, you lost the plot. I don't think you ever had it to begin with. But now you're coming up against farmers. I think you're about to find out you're in for a fight. And it's a fight that you will not win.
You made an accidental pun.
I know.
Oh, it wasn't an accidental pun.
Nope.
You lost the plot. I like
It wasn't
that.
accidental.
I like that. I like it. I love it when you slide those little things in there. I love it.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Ah, very, very, very skilled, Mr. Grizzly. Very skilled.
Thank you.
We are expecting Statistics Canada to deliver the jobs report today. Where it's expected that about 25,000 jobs will have been created in July after a stellar June that reported an unexpected 60,000 jobs. However, we're being told that the number of job vacancies is now at its lowest level in 2 years. Ted Mallett, an economist at the Conference Board of Canada, says, if you're employable, you'll be able to find a job in most categories, but it may take a little longer to find the right one. Generally, the economy is in for an extended period of slow growth. We think that for at least a year. And the ratings agency Fitch, who we were talking about earlier, that had downgraded the U.S.'s credit rating, is also on the record as saying they see a recession happening by the end of the year, even though a lot of people are saying, like the U.S. Fed, for example, that it's probably not going to happen. So again, economists never agree on anything. So, I mean, in just an update, small little one, because we've been talking about him, Andrew Tate, really, but Taint. Andrew Tate not going to be going to jail.
Perineum.
He's been released from house arrest with judicial controls. So just, yeah, he had been in a house arrest all this time, so now he has judicial controls. But he is still accused, along with his brother and 2 other women, of setting up a criminal organization used to traffic and sexually exploit women. And I hope he gets everything he has coming, because he deserves it. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else right now for the day, Mr. Grizzly.
I have 2 quick hits, and then we can wind it up, sir.
Okay.
This one is Stittsville yesterday. That's the size of the hailstones that fell in Stittsville.
Whoa.
It was a 3-minute hailstorm just before the tornado touched down. The tornado touched down south of the city, but that's a big hailstone. That's bigger than a golf ball. Well, about golf ball sized anyway. That's pretty big. And then there's this one who because Pierre Poliver is constantly saying Canada's broken, and we know it isn't. But here's the thing. If Canada is broken, then the Conservatives broke it.
Yeah.
You've got Conservatives in New Brunswick,
Yep.
Nova Scotia, Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and the CAQ, which is also a Conservative in Quebec. If Canada is broken, then the Conservatives broke it, because most of the provinces are run by Conservative governments. And guess what? They've all done a terrible job of managing COVID and post-COVID. Is it really post-COVID? We're no longer in pandemic panic, and they haven't officially said it's over. Have they? Has the CDC said it's, or the WHO?
The WHO has said it's officially over yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not too long ago, actually.
Yeah. But there's still people getting COVID and still people dying from it, but they're largely people who have not been vaccinated. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, the WHO declared an end to COVID-19 as a global health emergency on May 11th, 2023.
Okay.
But you're right, and for example, groups like the National Advisory Council on Immunizations are still giving advice, and they're saying that this coming fall, if you have not received any of the boosters, or if you have received any of the boosters, but especially if you haven't, to please take this year's booster, because this year's booster,
has it been released yet?
I don't think it has yet.
Okay, because I'm waiting for it.
I don't think it has yet, but this one, because the last one we had was the first bivalent booster, which had something for COVID, well, let's say COVID Classic and New COVID.
Like new coat.
New COVID and COVID Classic. So Omicron and Alpha. But this is an improvement on the one from last year that includes more strains, various strains of Omicron. So yes, if you, like I said, this would be shot number 6 if you got all, if you've collected them all. So, but to be sure to get this one, because this one is the one that will offer the most protection, particularly if you haven't had a booster or at least last year's bivalent.
So I'm just looking at a page here from the Government of Ontario, last updated July 28th, 2023, for COVID-19 pharmacy vaccine locations. So I don't know if it's the new shot or what, but I'm going to take a look and see if I can. Okay, lots of things to filter through here.
Yeah. Now, of course, the wait time again is, of course, 6 months since your previous shot, could be up to 4 months if you are immunocompromised. But yes, make sure to get your shot. And I think that because they're saying they're usually lasting about 6 months. If you get them in September-ish, October-ish, you'll be covered for the Christmas holidays, which is really the important one, where you want to make sure that you have good protection, because we don't know if we're going to have another wave, this winter or not. So just better safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry.
Well, and the thing to consider too is in the wintertime is when it would spread more because people are spending more time indoors. So
exactly, with not as good ventilation, more bodies in the room, and particularly Christmas, have a couple of drinks and you start speaking moistly. Little spittle. Love you, man. Yep. I asked for how you were doing, not for the weather report. Thank you.
That's what happened. You get a couple of cocktails into you, right? A couple of wobbly pops, and the next thing you know, hey man.
Well, that was the thing when we went to the wedding. I think it was in the first year in September. Out, my friends did it outside, with garden party tents and all that kind of stuff, and when we all had our masks on and stuff like that. But around 10:30, 11 p.m. at night, while we're dancing, and everybody's singing. So you got droplets while you're dancing, you're singing, and you get the couple of people, like this. We had a couple of, like you said, wobbly pops, and put their arm around you and start talking like right in your face. So you're so happy. They're it's like, oh man. Like I said, I was such a good boy. I wore my mask the entire time when I was like anywhere near people, and while we were dancing, I still wore my mask. So because I cannot dance. The only time I don't sing when I'm dancing is if it's a techno song that has no words in it, which made techno very hard for me to access EDM when I was young, because I said, there's no words in this, it's just noise. Eventually I figured out that there was some good EDM in techno, but it took me a while, because my favorite thing was singing to the song and there were no words. But yes, that the singing at the top of my lungs and whatnot. But still, somewhere around like 10:30 in the night, a couple of times people came to talk to me, and it's like you don't want to push people away, and you're thinking, "Oh God, I hope I'm okay when I go home." And everybody was, fortunately, from this wedding.
You're still a little nervous,
but you have that. Okay, I went to the wedding. I tried to be as responsible as I could, but people are still people and things happen, and you're just like thinking, oh God, please, 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 please. Whew, dodged a bullet. So, but yes, please make sure to get your vaccination this fall, because you want to be up to date.
Well, I'm looking on
you want to get ready for the 6G when it arrives,
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm the 6G. I'm looking on a pharmacy page here, and I can book something next week. But I don't know if it's the bivalent booster from Pfizer or Moderna. I can take either one.
Yeah,
I just don't know what if
it's the version 1 or version 2.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, so that's the basic thing. Yeah, you got to check there. One last little note that I have here, because we had the World Swimming Championships last week, and yes, there are all the individual medals, but there's also a team trophy, because there are points for every race. I think the top 20 or something, or top 16 get points, and then they add them all up. So the United States won the points race. Australia finished second, but Team Canada was 5th overall. Team Canada, men and women combined, have the 5th strongest swimming team in the entire world. I didn't think we were that high. I thought we would have been like 8th or 9th or whatnot, but 5th. Now the men's team is 9th. The women are 4th. And the women in 4th place have more points than the men's team on the 2nd place for Canada. So the strong, I think there's maybe a little more imbalance on the women's side than on the men's side in terms of parity, in terms of the strength of the teams. But 4th place women's team in the world is Team Canada, and the 9th place men's team in the world is Team Canada, for Team Canada total 5th. And that's, again, without Alexiak and with Kylie Mass not being at her absolute best, and with Ruslev Gazian not being able to compete in all the events because he had missed qualifications because he had COVID. So he was just there for the relays. Yeah. And then we still have another year to go before the Olympics, where all these people can improve.
Oh yeah, and they will. They'll train hard. They'll improve. They'll watch and see Summer smash records at the Olympics next year, when she'll be 17.
Yes, it literally will be the Summer Games.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Always thinking.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole bunch of other little tidbits, kits, but we are closing in on 3, so I think that's enough for today.
Yeah,
What do you
let's
say?
wind her down.
Let's wind her down. All right, kids and cubs.
Or wind it up. Wind it down. Wind it up.
Wind
it down.
Wind up. Oh, wind it.
I was thinking more like red wine, but you know.
Oh, red wine. Yes, was it Madagascar? I think that was, or Happy Feet. Cat de Luna's Wind Up. Anyway, it was from one of those animated movies. I like the course of that one. It speaks to me. It speaks to the Jamaican blood that I have in me somewhere in there.
Right, Jasmine. You know what it is, Irie. And don't come at me for that one, okay? Because there's a lot of white people in Jamaica that have that same accent. So, okay? I'm not culturally appropriating anything. There are a lot of white people that live in Jamaica that got that thick accent from the Jamaicans. Yeah.
We hope that you loved listening to us, because we loved making this for you. And today we particularly loved making this for you because, well, we got to help out a friend who's hard at work now. No, he said he had the day off, but I know he was going.
He's got the day off. He doesn't go back till Tuesday. It's Monday's a holiday.
Exactly. Yes, Miss Sadeka, that was Wind Up by Cat de Luna. Exactly. You got it. You got it.
You see the thing I just put on the screen there, sir?
Alberta's canceled boosters. I have asked and we're told they were no longer available. Kit Plain Power.
Danielle Smith's premiership is about.
I'm gonna have to ask Nate about this. Hold on, I'm gonna.
Yeah, let's reach out to Nate on that one, because
I'm gonna do that right now. What do you know about Alberta?
Yeah, I did see this. I did see this headline. Alberta canceled any renewable energy projects.
Yes.
Like, really?
Yes, they put.
The planet is on fire. It's the hottest July in recorded history. Fires, floods, tornadoes, hailstorms. Let's go all in on oil. Jesus.
Right?
I can't write this.
Okay, well, since you know what, we were going to end the show, but let's talk about it since we're talking about it. Yes, yesterday, the government of Alberta has announced that for at least the next 7 months, they will be putting a moratorium on the approval of new renewable projects, citing concerns about land use and about what the implications will be if at one point they need to reclaim the land to clean it.
There's 71 abandoned wells and 95 orphaned wells, I think.
Yes. And here's the thing, is right now the province is in an energy, wind and solar energy boom. So you have Blake Schaefer, who's an economist from the University of Calgary and an energy researcher, that says people are often surprised to hear that Alberta has been the #1 region in Canada for renewables growth for the past several years. Why are you pointing the finger at cleanup liabilities in renewables today when the much, much, much larger issue is unfunded oil and gas liabilities? There's been a lot of money coming in. If I'm an investor or a developer in this space, I would look at other opportunities. We just cast a huge amount of regulatory uncertainty into all investments in renewables.
Big oil owns Danielle Smith. Period.
Seriously.
Period.
The Pembina Institute points out that it's actually unprecedented in Alberta to actually stop activity in any energy sector to review regulations. Paul McLaughlin, who's the president of the Rural Municipalities of Alberta, has said, "We've just seen an explosion of renewable projects all throughout rural Alberta. Solar farms are ideal on brownfield, non-agricultural producing land of lesser value." So, yes, you should definitely have regulations for that to happen, but you don't need to stop approval of projects. Because you said, hey, maybe it's not a good idea to put a solar farm on prime agricultural land. Okay, you've thought about that. That's your policy. That's all the thing that needs to do. Now, how do you enact that? Seriously, you don't need to stop stuff for 7 months. So, yes. And meanwhile, of course, these are the people that are paying tons of money, that are asking Ottawa to give money so that there's abandoned oil wells that have just been abandoned, and then there's the orphaned ones. All of them, which all these people are legally, contractually bound to clean up. We are bribing them with yet more money to do what they are contractually, legally supposed to do. And there's methane and all the other stuff that are way worse than your standard GHG gases coming from those sources. But hey, let's pause everything on the renewables right now, because that's where the priority area is.
She's pulling a Doug Ford. Remember how he first got in? He canceled all the he canceled agreements we had in place for renewable energies, and he tore up the charging stations for electric cars. Canceled programs, tore up the charge. A couple years later, he comes back, and 5 years later, comes back. We're building a battery thing, and we're putting. So he can look like a hero, dude. You don't look like a hero by rescuing the child from the house that is burning when you set the fire.
Yeah. I broke it. Now watch me fix it.
Yeah.
Can I has cookie? Can I has Tim Hortons smile cookie? Yeah. Alberta, what the fuck? Seriously. I mean, just on the investment stability issue. What are you doing? You're literally kneecapping your province. Right now you have an investment advantage in that solar and wind is being really well established there and people want to come there. And you're making a decision that's going to allow every other jurisdiction to either catch up or surpass you. Why? Again, you are the people who are supposed to be good with money, according to why?
Conservatives have never been good with money.
Of course they haven't. We've made the case, but it's like there's a difference
They're good
between
with
not
money.
being good with money and being so obviously bad with it.
They're good with money if you're wealthy and want your donors to continue donating to you. They're good with money by giving it to wealthy people, giving them programs and giving them tax cuts and finding ways to make the rich richer. That's how they're good with money. But when it comes to actual fiscal conservatism, they're not. And they haven't been for a long time.
And there seems to be...
I'm not saying they never were. But they haven't been for a very long time.
And there seems to be this like huge rush to be like reducing standards. So remember in Ontario, Doug Ford is now determining that certain students that when they get to grade 11, they can go out and apprentice into the work world. And there are certain things that they were learning in grade 12 and 13 up until now that they no longer need to learn anymore. In Alberta, they are reducing qualification standards for EMS teams.
And Nate can speak to that directly.
Yes. They've recently announced that they were lowering standards for teachers because apparently they don't have enough of them either. So they're lowering standards so that the more people can actually meet the bar.
Well,
When it comes to educating children, let's have our educators. Let's have lower standards for educators instead of higher.
they're going back to the early 20th century. Childhood laborers. We've already seen it in the United States of America. How soon before we see it in Canada? Oh, right, they've lowered it to 17. So you can go work on a construction site at 17 and don't worry about having to go to school. You're fine. And because you're 17 and you're not part of the union, you're not getting paid union labor wages. You're getting minimum because you're 17 and you have no training. So what Doug tries to make it looks like he's helping people out by giving them a job. The best way to lift somebody up is to give them a job. But Doug, the thing is, if the jobs that you're giving out or handing out or creating, if you want to use that term, have to pay a living wage, number one. And number two, all you're doing is creating a subset of laborers for your developer friends who pay them the bare minimum because they want to maximize their profits. You're a horrible human being, Doug Ford. You're a money-grubbing, money-loving, horrible human being. You are going to get what's coming to you. Might not happen today. Probably won't happen tomorrow. But someday, you're going to have to pay the piper for the sins you've committed against the wonderful citizens of this province. And even the ones who don't realize they've been hoodwinked by you, you are going to pay.
We have these comments here. Dougie also removed verification of qualifications for trade, says Linda M. Yes. PNC Bio. Weirdly, I think most conservatives would agree these days that investment is second fiddle to fighting with Ottawa. Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely, PNC Bio. Yes. I'm right with you on that one.
Apprenticeship was implemented as a way to perpetuate the unpaid labor of slavery once slavery was abolished.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we created internships. And then the unpaid internship.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Yeah. Oh,
Be grateful for the experience and the exposure.
A lot of people are really trying to get this job. You know, here's the thing with the unpaid internship, which I can't get too personal here, but let's just say somebody close to me fought very hard within the corporation that they work for in a senior management position and said, we're not doing that. They go, well, no, we have to. No, we are not getting people to work for free. That is morally corrupt. It is unforgivable. Our interns will be paid a living wage or we won't have any. But we need interns, then pay them. This is somebody very close to me who fought, and a lot of people pushed back against this person. But this person said, no, that is not how we do business. What are you going to do, fire me? And of course, they can't because this person is in a senior management position and makes them hundreds of millions of dollars a year in profit. So we are going to be the company that pays our interns a livable wage. And fought hard to get that.
That pays in the end.
There was a lot of pushback.
It pays in the end.
That's the thing.
And
this is a person who says,
all of that kind of stuff.
This is a person who said, you realize the PR we can get off of this, right?
Lower HR turnover, happier staff, which are more productive. Like all these decisions to say, hey, we can save like 10 million a year by doing like this, they're all short-sighted. I mean, unless you are severely overstaffed because, you did like that Shopify thing where you brought in tons of people because you said, hey, this thing's going to go on forever. And then whoops, it didn't. Then but unless that, like, pay people well, treat them well. Trust me, we keep on saying it costs far less in the end to do the right thing the first time.
I'll give you a, everybody knows that I worked in construction for 29 plus years. I remember once about 15 years ago, I was on a construction site. It was a new suburban housing community. And we were building the infrastructure for a service provider of telecommunication services. and the lines get buried in trenches, and we have to build all the. So, you know, we were building the physical layer of the OSI model of the network. And I remember standing there one day in a trench as we're laying the cable down, and I look up at this house. And I was talking to a couple of guys working on the site that were carpenters and that, and they go, "I would not buy a house in this neighborhood." I went, "Why?" And he points up and he says, "Well, look at the brickwork, for instance." I'm like, "Holy crap." He goes, "That was done by an apprentice, and the foreman, his trainer, just let him do it." I'm like, "Dude, that's the crookedest archway I've ever seen in brickwork. I mean, we're talking brutal. It's like I would not pay for that." And the house, I walked in, and the developer used, construction grade lumber, which sure, fine, for studs, okay. Except, well, that's too crooked. Okay, just cut it in half and take another board and nail it together. There's your beam. No. This is a row housing. Where are the firewalls? No brick walls separating the houses. No cinder blocks. Just double drywalling insulation. Cut costs to save money. Cut red tape, remove the gatekeepers to save money, increase profit margins, and screw over the consumer.
Yeah. Well, it's what you mentioned there reminds me of a story that I heard. It's going to seem a little unrelated, but I'm going to read this to you. High-profile musicians make all sorts of wild demands about their backstage setups at concerts. Kanye West reportedly requires a barber's chair. Mariah Carey insists on 2 vases of white roses. Rock band Van Halen had one of the most oddly specific requests of all, a bowl of M&M candies with all the brown ones removed. For years, it was seen as complete folly. The band was making a ridiculous demand of concert organizers simply because they could get away with it. But the seemingly ludicrous request was actually a shrewd business move. We were reminded of it while reading Ian Parker's excellent profile of New York Times food critic Pete Wells in The New Yorker. He mentions the Van Halen M&M episode in passing. The band's concert writer indeed had a clause saying there could be no brown M&Ms in the backstage area or the promoter would forfeit the entire show at full price. As lead singer David Lee Roth explained in a 2012 interview, the bowl of M&Ms was an indicator of whether the concert promoter had actually read the band's complicated contract. Van Halen was the first to take 850 par lamplights, huge lights around the country, Roth said. At the time, it was the biggest production ever. In many cases, the venues were too outdated or inadequately prepared to set up the band's sophisticated stage. Quote, "If I came backstage having been one of the architects of this lighting and staging design and I saw brown M&Ms on the catering table, then I guarantee the promoter had not read the contract writer and we would have to do a serious line check of the entire stage setup," Roth said. The brown M&M's demand is a great rock and roll legend, but the truth is far more interesting.
It's health and safety is what it is.
It's health and safety.
That's what it is.
We put it in there because if it's not there, we know you cut corners on the job and made it unsafe for us to do our job and made it unsafe for everybody who came to the venue to watch us to be in there.
And back then, you have to understand each city you went to had a different promoter, a different concert promoter, a different, they hired local labor to build it. It's all different today. Today, it's all corporate. It's Live Nation or it's something else. And they have their own crews. They have IATC union members in different cities that take care of it. So if you come to Ottawa and you do play a concert at the CTC or Lansdowne or the NAC, you don't need that rider anymore. You don't need that little stipulation in the rider anymore because it's all done by IATC, which is union work, and they do not cut a single corner when it comes to health and safety of anybody on the site. I know this because a very good friend of mine is in that position, and he says, "No, this is the regulation. We stick to the rule. They don't screw around." And I'm like, you know what? That's good because people's lives are at stake, literally at stake.
Yes. Is the stage well built? Are all those I don't know how many pounds they weigh, but those big lights up there, are they secured or will one fall off?
Well, they're considerably lighter now because they're mostly LED, but they're still, you get lighting standard falls 40 feet and hits you, you're dead.
Yeah.
If you live, you're not going to be the same.
Right. So, yeah, just sometimes there are things in contracts, there are things in text, there are things in emails and in voice messages and whatnot, or even in job interview questions. I remember once asking someone in a job interview, "What do you think about the controversy surrounding legalizing same-sex marriage?" And then people went in and kept telling me, I was like, oh, why does they support? And it was like, this, I didn't ask you what was your position on same-sex marriage. I says, what did you think about the controversy? That's what I specifically asked that question.
Mm-hmm.
See, if you listen, do you answer the question asked? Do you actually listen to the question asked? Or do you just listen for keywords and then go off? It made it very clear, made it very easy to pick the person who would get the job, by the way. People don't listen. All right, so we took a little detour, but that's why I mentioned the M&M story, because you
goes back to health and safety, cutting corners, profit.
Exactly. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network, as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are greatly appreciated. And because democracy is something that you do, yes, please donate to the Red Cross. Please write your media. But, taking a tip from Kit Dan. If you've got the time, if you've got the motivation, and if you're incensed enough, run for something.
Mm-hmm.
Run for something. And if you're not going to run for something, if you can't run for something, those school board meetings at which these people show up and talk about pornography in schools and those city council meetings, go to a few of them. And if you hear some people like that talking, then get in front of the mic and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of these politicians base these, as we mentioned, based on, well, as we talked about, right? 2 or 3 letters is all it took to get Premier Blaine Higgs in New Brunswick to do that thing with Policy 713 and trying to out trans kids.
Well,
had he
as it turned out,
had he received 30 letters from people, maybe he would have thought twice about making that move.
As it turned out, he received 0 letters.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, it was released in the paper. I actually put it in, I think I put it in the write-up this morning, did I not? He received 0 complaints.
Jeez.
He made it up. Bill Hogan lied to New Brunswickers. He said he had hundreds of parental complaints that schools kept pronouns secret. Thing is, the complaints do not exist.
Okay, I didn't know
Never
that.
happened.
I knew that. Well, I reported on that, and then we reported that there was an Freedom of Information request, and 3 came out, including the one with the litter boxes.
Yeah. Turns out there was none.
There was none. Great.
That was in the CBC yesterday. None.
Yay!
So he made it all up.
Just they'll wishful thinking stated as fact.
And here's the best part: they're clearly not smart enough to realize they're going to be called out on this. You lied to my face. No, I didn't. I said the truth. I have the complaints. Show them to us. They're here somewhere. Yeah, there's no record of them.
But they don't.
0.
But they don't care, because even if they get caught, they stand in front of the mic and they do that Danielle Smith thing. Oh, well, I didn't really mean to do that. And I always support the gay community, and then nobody
bullshit.
And then nobody follows it up the next day. So they do it because they know they can get away with it. Because even if they get caught, the accountability lasts a total of 30 seconds, and once they get through the nanosecond, they're golden again.
Well, and remember where the whole litter box story came from, right?
Yeah, you told me.
It wasn't people identifying as cats. It started out as some classrooms, as a precautionary measure, put litter boxes in the back corner of the classroom in the event that they went into a lockdown because of an active shooter. So instead of urinating in your pants, you could squat in a kitty litter box. Then people said, no, it's because they're identifying as cats. No, it's because gun control in the United States is so piss poor that people are walking into classrooms and shooting up children, murdering children in cold blood. So as a precautionary measure, if the class goes into lockdown, they have a kitty litter box for people to urinate in if they feel the need, because, usually when you're petrified for your life, you tend to lose control of your bladder.
Yeah. So, go to these city council meetings, go to these school council meetings, and, bring some friends and be prepared to go to the mic and, provide the ratio. Let the people that are sitting at that committee who are making the decisions know that they're not the only ones who care about the issue.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take a lot of you. It doesn't take a lot. There's not a lot of room in these city hall places, right? So, it's just show up. even if you don't go every week, let's say you decide like once a month you're going to go to something or whatnot, just to be that extra body in the room that's saying boo when one of those people say one of those things or make one of those cases. But it's the only way this is going to change is, if all of us who are too busy with our regular lives decide that we are going to make time for democracy and make it a priority and put it in their schedule. So Kit Dan, again, my friend, more power to you. More power to you. And if we can help in any way, we're here for you. For the rest of you who are watching, we love to hear from you. So if you reach us on our Facebook page at True North Eager Beaver, where soon we probably won't be able to be sharing much more news, but hey, we'll find other ways to get content to you through there, through our Twitter feed at True Eager, or through Shitter, I guess. Could it start with X?
I don't even know anymore.
Exeter, Shitter. I'm not sure how to pronounce it anymore now that it's X. Oh, apparently they put that big sign up on their headquarters, the big X sign, and then they had to take it down a couple of days ago because apparently Elon Musk decided to make it a big strobe light, which flashed and disturbed people like at 2-3 in the morning. Idiot. You can subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel. Please do. That helps us out big time. Make like Kit Lane and smash those buttons. And we can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, a particularly good week of shows, and if you're watching, you can scan the QR code that Mr. Grizzly is going to put right by his head. And if you are not watching, you use those lovely fingers on those lovely hands or your voice command to go to ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all lowercase letters and in one word. And that's where you can go to make your donation to the Eager Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund to keep us, because I know she's here, moist. And if you see that little squiggly right under my chin, that is where you go to get a direct link to Mr. Grizzly's ASMR for mental health channel. That's not the Angry Speedo Man rant channel.
That's a different channel.
The one where he calms you down after you watch the Speedo Man rants, which I'm sure will hopefully be coming.
Sometime soon.
I really do want to see one. And for the kids who have made those donations, thank you so very much to Kit Trish, who sent us a little donation and said, thank you. Goodness for you both. I appreciate you whenever I get a chance to listen or watch to bring sanity to me on my way to work or when I'm chilling at home. Your voices are so important. Please keep it up. I am going to completely bypass the keep it up joke because I'm inappropriate, but it's sitting there and I want to swing at it. And thank you so very much for the support. Someone scanned the QR code we see. That's great. And also
I have
Kit Infamous Adam, who also helped us and said, wouldn't make it in the morning without you guys. From Polly's fun and snarky jokes every day to Doug's amazing sense of humor and telling the news in an honest and unbiased view. Much deserved. Thank you, Kit Infamous Adam. I'm not sure that my view's unbiased, but I do like to present views other than just my own.
Yes, indeed.
And
I have
okay.
Go ahead. Sorry,
and I'm not sure if I had thanked Taffy G, Kit Taffy G, for their donation that came in earlier. But thank you for your mornings. Thank you for mornings with you and the wonderful Beaver family. Always informative and entertaining. Thank you for your lovely presence, Kit Taffy G. And you're here today, so you get to hear it. Mr. Grizzly, please, what did you have to say?
I'm just going to pull this down here so I can put this on the screen. Did I put the link in the chat? I think I did. Hang on. Yes, I did. I put the link in the chat, but I'm going to bring it up to put it on the screen because I did find the article from the CBC. Parental complaints alleging schools kept pronouns secret do not exist. UNB professor requested information from the province about complaints prior to the Policy 713 review. Yeah. From 2020 to May 25th, 2023, the Department of Education received no written complaints from parents alleging the school was keeping them in the dark about their children's preferred pronouns.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
He made it up.
Nearly 3.5 years.
And the thing is,
We have
like,
thousands
again,
of them.
they're not very smart, are they? Bald face, lie. And we can prove that you lied.
I guess they thought that everybody was going to be too busy to ask or look.
There's always going to be somebody out there who's going to do it.
That's why I said that's the democracy is something you do. Be nosy. Ask the question. File the Freedom of Information request. Stick your nose in that business.
Get in
Be
there.
right all
Make
up
it
in there in
happen.
that grill. Yeah, I hear you. Hey, Kit Diggs BT Dub 7. Hey, what's up? I love it when you show up and ask that. All right. So please make your donation to our emergency hydration fund. It helps us out big time. And thank you to those who, Plain Power donated to the coffee fund. Well, thank you so very much. And hopefully we'll be able to read it on Monday's show for you. Okay. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourselves. And thank you so much for all the love. By the way, Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom, please.
Well, as you say all the time, democracy is something you do, and we're seeing it in action with our friend Dan, who is about to go out and do some democracy to help his community. And and let's go back to this professor in New Brunswick who said, "I want to know what exactly took place," and called out the hypocritical liar for being a liar. You have the power, folks. We have the power. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Oh, I think this might be the only the first or second time that we've received like a live donation while we're on air. I remember one time I saw somebody said somebody scanned it, but I don't know if they scanned our code or the pod page code. So thank you so much, Plain Power.
Thank you very much.
And we will definitely read the comment on the next show if you included one with it. And if not, well then you have our thanks right away in real time. We're very, very grateful. Okay, yes. Dan says, roll the credits. Okay, yes, because this is probably the longest outro we've had. Mr. Grizzly, please roll them credits. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum. And the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
I don't know why that took so long to come back because I shortened it.
Yeah, I know. The music didn't speed up at the end either. I didn't have to do this at the end.
Oh, you know what I did? I shortened it, but I forgot to download it. That's what I'm telling you, everyone.
Kits, before we go off for the weekend, some personal good news. Number one, our loans have been approved for making the energy efficient changes to our home that we would hope to make. So again, another big democracy, something that you can do, democracy, something you do alert. If you have the ability and can do a little more, given that the climate's going crazy, you can. So we did. So we look forward to putting on some new insulation, getting a heat pump, and upgrading our electrical panel to make the
Cool.
garage EV chargeable at some point. So yes, we're very happy about that. So if locally if you are able to participate in the Grant Canada Greener Homes project, there's an interest-free loan, I think for 10 years. Where you and they I think they can give you up, I think, up about to a third of it in advance to help pay some of the down payments for some of the things, and there are some rebates as well afterwards if you meet some reduction standards. And several municipalities have some pilot Better Homes projects as well at the same time, so you can double them both together and get some good savings. So if you have the ability, please make an attempt to do that. And yesterday, big success. I played tennis yesterday against one of the best people at our club.
Oh,
I
nice.
won a game. For the
Oh,
first
cool.
time in 3 years, it was not 8-0, but 8-1. Did it.
Oh,
Did it. Took 3 years,
that's
but it
called
did
that's called progress.
it.
That's called
On
progress.
my serve. On my
Progress. I got to make a programming note. Monday's show will be pre-recorded.
Yes.
Because I'm going camping this weekend with my beloved, so I will not be available on Monday. Actually, she says we're going glamping, so I'm going to find out when I get there.
Welcome to my universe.
Yeah. We'll see what happens when I get there.
Glamping's fun. Oh, well, I hope you have a wonderful time. And yes, I think we might be recording that show a little later today to have it
Yes.
ready for you on Monday. So yeah, Kits we'll be back with you live Tuesday. If you happen to be in one of those provinces that have a long weekend, enjoy it. Have a wonderful time with friends and family. Lots of love and lots of laughter. Okay? Bye.
See ya.